Yeah, at the startups.
I know that.
It doesn't hit, and you can't get hit.
I know that.
I still fear that you might be gaslighting me, but I feel like I know you well enough at this point that you do a certain
No, I'm
voice when you're
telling
gaslighting, and I feel like you're being
I'm
serious.
telling you,
A
Toe.
lot of the time, I'm not gaslighting, but I'm just wrong and confident. So I wouldn't call that gaslighting. I'd call that stupidity.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. Okay, but this time you sound super well. Yeah,
I'm right. I'm right
never
about this.
mind.
I'm right about this.
I think
Chill,
you're right
chill,
about
chill. Focus on the match. Chill.
Wow.
That's just hard to come back from.
Wow.
Yeah, I think the risk he took with that opening rest
Yeah.
did not pay off. I guess that's it. It's all or nothing.
God, it's insane that the match can spiral off that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, remember Amsa did that air dodge by mistake, lost the game. Hungrybox flubbed on the right side platform, lost the game.
And look at them both staring up at the ceiling, trying to collect their thoughts. I mean, it must be exhausting after 12 hours, 10 hours of melee.
Yeah.
Hungrybox reset the bracket, and here we are in set 2, and Amsa 1 game away from being the scuffed world champion.
I will say, too, the thing about losers is tough, right? You get that first, you grind high on losers, making the run happen. But then you give your opponent a time to adapt and adjust to the game plan, which is, I don't know, it's so hard to win 2 sets.
What stage?
Damn, that
Dreamland?
focus was hard as hell.
Yeah.
It's Dreamland.
The land of dreams,
Here
baby.
we go.
Gave up on the FD dream, went over to Dreamland.
We can have multiple
fair.
dreams.
The man had a rest in a dream, bro.
Yeah, it's kind of like A-Truck had that dream to, were you telling me about that?
Actually, don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it, but
Apparently, A-Truck's dream was to start an energy drink brand, and Jack, or not Jack.
Nate Shot?
Atrion. And then Nate Shot beat him to it.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Nate Shot always been Nate Shot shit. I've always said that.
For Juvie, what is it?
Juvie, Code Say Smash.
Code Say Smash.
Yes, sir.
Add drink, Juvie.com, save 2% off.
Yes, sir.
Go.
I recommend the green and the pink flavors.
Hit
are
the
my favorite.
damn up smash. I get mad.
Yeah.
I thought Opso Power Shit was one of those, but I'll maybe I'll go.
Ooh.
Oh, is that a shield poke?
Yeah,
Yeah.
phenomenal shield poke.
Nutty.
See that?
Dude.
That go,
Good
top of the
old-fashioned nutty
platform
melee.
up air.
I think we were.
Oh, he got out.
Just of the percentage where it enters knockdown during the drill, so that they have more room to move to DI that.
Which is super high percent.
Yeah, very high.
Doesn't kill.
LB? Oh, I thought he
No,
was
go
with
ahead.
fans. Oh.
There it is.
Wow.
Oh my god, dude.
That looked like he's gonna live, right?
Papa
Yeah.
Bear at
Was the
170.
DI bad?
That does.
Way back
There it
way.
is. And I don't think we were gonna see a risk-taking Hungrybox this game. I think we're gonna be seeing a very slow, very back air heavy. I mean, a minute 30 for the first 2 lives to be gone. On pace for like another 6-minute, 7-minute match.
Grab.
Ooh.
Oh,
So hard.
another shield
So
poke.
hard to contend with Omsa's grab pressure. It's really.
Ooh.
He don't, especially with Puff. What are you gonna do out of shield?
Okay.
He does such a good job mixing it up.
Dude, Amsa is bringing insane pressure. Oh.
Catch the jump with the dash attack. Mom's a dude.
Yeah, he did, and that it's
Okay, got the grab.
Got a kill a couple times earlier in this set.
Crazy.
Wow, not the up air.
Not gonna do it.
That platform with an air.
Holding down.
Oh.
This is tight. This is even Steven.
Right.
Oh, love a yellow pound. And I think part of the reason he does pound is because it goes through the egg, as well as extending to hit.
That's what I thought. Hungrybox is from Argentina. So if he wins this, it's another big win for Argentina today.
Power of the cabeza, bro. Hit him with his head.
And Amsa's got the baby lead right now.
Living.
See what he can do with it.
Ooh, H-Box is fishing. He's realizing he can't fish.
Yeah.
Even something like this, I feel like Ops is gonna die in like 205 or something, bro.
There's something a little bit deflating when it's your own counter pick is the reason your uppers aren't killing.
Oh,
I brought him here.
This is
That's the downside.
damn.
I told you, bro. Did I not say
That'll
205?
do
No.
it. That has to do it. That has to do it.
Live again.
Oh.
Die at 200.
Hey, if you're plus or minus 5% on a call, you're doing really well.
Hey, you know, I'm out here.
Okay, let's spend those pounds out. Yeah, that is the fans. Yep.
Okay.
Uh-oh,
Sure.
up air.
Yeah, HBox getting a little.
Who's on my side yet? Who's on my side yet? These pounds are whack. Who's on my side?
I think, yeah.
I'm with you, bro.
Join me. Join
You've
me.
actually been making some really
My
clutch
man.
calls on players getting lazy over the course of this tournament. I think this is the latest iteration of that.
I think I'm one of the laziest on a man, so I
So
just
You see it. You
every
sniff
time
it
I
out.
have the urge.
Going on.
Yeah,
What's it? A bullshitter to recognize bullshit.
I
What's that
definitely
term?
know what you're talking about. Sometimes if Falcons do stuff that I would do, I'm like, dang, and they're at
Yeah, there's like
Yes.
that's the down B. The
Yeah.
Oh.
Blood, the lazy option is comfortable.
Okay.
Even at high level.
Oh yeah, he went for a much larger plan of trying to back air.
If HBox gets a stock ahead somehow, he wins.
He's swagging.
Oh, the pressure.
Went into the neutral B.
Ooh.
Crowd's getting a little hype now, feeling some of the
They are, they're
tension.
screaming
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Understanding.
Amsa just needs a hit.
Exactly right, Bobby.
Could have confirmed that.
Oh, the movement.
Wait,
Ooh, ooh, and it feels like
Oh, they
also is
can't trade like that if you're HBox.
to, like, feel himself.
Dude,
Leash moving.
Amsa.
The lead going in the last off.
Right.
It's almost like a shark smelling blood in the water.
He
Oh.
missed it. He I think.
The drill was terrible. I don't even think AL canceled.
Okay.
Dude, how many 170% uppers that don't kill? We're
No
gonna,
way! I feel for him. I feel for him.
Oh my
Omi's
God.
limited to
Oh my god, dude.
Unless Hungry Box wrestling.
Wrongly worded email to Nintendo.
Need to change Yoshi's
Oh, good tech from HBox.
Amsa and Hungry Box taking each other to the limit right now.
There's nobody in the world better at taking wins out of.
No, it's not it. It's not it.
Hey, that was worth though. I think that was worth.
Oh, he waited. He
The
waited.
double has so much damage.
But maybe it wasn't worth.
Oh.
Amsa looking like Marty McFly hanging in the in the air on the hoverboard for that second forward air.
In like 3 frames of intangibility during the Tekken place is when the rest was trying to activate, so it missed. Although it looked like.
Oh, HBox is scared. HBox is scared, dude.
God.
You can see the fear of God in Juan.
Diligent outspacing on back airs until you get him to 180% and then up airing. Those are 2 options that Hungrybox has to take the wind out of this.
Oh!
It feels like inevitable win Amsa's about to take.
You're feeling it, Lud?
Feeling it. I'm feeling it.
Feeling
There's
it.
some
Yeah, Amsa needs one hit and he's dead. One nair.
Better at taking wins
And-
out of the sails than Hungrybox.
No one.
At stopping
It
momentum.
is Ghost.
No one.
Oh.
It's not over till it's over.
Yeah, Amsa's coming for that title.
Oh my goodness.
Pound's coming.
But
Oh.
time. It could though.
I don't think it is either.
Okay.
The back airs are coming out.
Oh boy.
HBox with
Amsa's
a
getting
percent lead.
duffed. Oh, no up air.
Catch
There
that.
it is.
That's it.
Amsa finds the up air.
Damn.
Scuff World Tour. Set 2, 3-1.
Yo, let's get it.
And easily, I think, the hardest fought
Awesome.
victory over HBox.
I feel like that's getting it.
Nutty.
Is that close out the year? Or there's one more time before the end of the year, right?
Oh yeah, but I don't think Ops is
But
gonna be
Amsa
there.
taking another huge tournament
Look at him.
in 2022.
He's
Let's go.
pumped.
Let's go, Opsa.
He's pumped.
That is 4 major tournaments that he's won this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's huge.
With Yoshi.
Oh.
Is he 3rd best this year? Is he number 3?
Yeah.
Might be like.
Is he
Yeah,
number
he's
3?
red. He's
He
red
might
hot
be
fire
starting
right
the
now.
conversation number 3 with room to grow.
Amsa equals Messi.
Yeah.
So consistent.
Yeah. And a mirror of 7.
I want to activate.
The only player to defeat.
Okay, Jubilee. Did slavery affect your family? Africans versus African Americans, the middle ground. So this is one where obviously I'm not going to have, the best perspective on it. But I'm interested to see what happens. Maybe I'll have something to say. Let's see what we got.
Me coming from Africa, I came here to better my life. And I feel like personally, we need to stop using the word racism when we don't get something or when something don't go our way. And just
Oh no. I'm already going to be like... oh, not happy with this video.
Let me jump in real quick. No disrespect, but racism exists, and I have to acknowledge it. And I can't just ignore it, but what I can do is not buy into the system.
Dude, that's the problem, man. Like, systemic racism from like generations of like intergenerational trauma is hard to quantify. It's not, to a lot of people, racism is like saying the N-word to someone's face and that's it. Like, that's where racism begins and where it ends. But there's so many deeper degrees that racism can, you know, be a part of. And so another thing that people think, like, that's like level 1. Level 2 is like, okay, well, he's not saying the N-word to my face, but like, my rights, like, there's no law prohibiting me from, say, using a drinking fountain. Like, that law doesn't exist anymore. So racism is over. That's like Republican level of like racism is dead, like denialism. That I think that previous guy that's kind of what he was saying too. But the truth is, the reality is, the effects of those former policies are still felt today. We did not, you know, from the United States perspective, offer nearly enough restitution to help the former slaves. And we did not, and then we had another, after slavery ended, we had a century of segregation where we did not, like, I mean, I can't even begin to describe the horrible trauma that people went through during that era of segregation. And then after segregation ended, we didn't do anything to help elevate the families who for centuries were downtrodden and literally kept as slaves or segregated. And so now here we are 50, 60 years later, and we're still feeling the effects of slavery, still feeling the effects of that segregation, Jim Crow era, which there are people still alive who lived through that, who are themselves facing the effects of slavery still. So this intergenerational trauma that's affecting Black people to this day, that we did not do anything to help assist, is racism. It's a part of our institution. Anyway, that's the like 101 of my perspective on this.
Step forward if you agree. Slavery affected my family.
Okay, this is a question I can't answer. I can make some very broad assumptions based on, you know, the things I've learned. But, like, if these guys are African American, you know, very likely, yes. Oh, that's my dog. Very likely the answer would be yes. People living in Africa, you know, I would intuit yes, that like all of these people could probably say slavery had some effect on them. If not slavery, and this is Jubilee words their questions in this way, absolutely, like colonialism, imperialism, definitely affected them. And, you know, slavery was a huge part of that. But the way it's worded, you know, who knows where they're going to go. Let's see. Wow, dude, that is not what I expected. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I expected, I had an inkling that they would interpret it kind of the way I said it, but for not a single one of them to move. I mean, I don't know. Again, white guy, no clue, no fucking clue what they're gonna say. But still, crazy.
Yeah, I mean, that's just evident in my last name, King. I mean, that's the brand of the slave owner that put that name on my family all those years ago, and I'm still wearing it in those ways, along with the compounded, you know, economic disparity, social disparity.
Let's go. Yeah, Kai fucking knows what's up. I mean, all these guys, everyone's gonna know what's up, I assume, but Kai, yeah, he's, I agree with what Kai's saying here.
Trauma, all of that. I mean, it's,
Sorry.
you know, economic disparity, social disparity, mental trauma, all of that. I mean, it's tethered forever.
So to go back to slavery and talk about post-traumatic stress disorder, it has never stopped. So there is no post. What my great-grandparents were teaching my grandparents, who taught my mother, who taught me, came from what they learned through slavery. So there's a lot of fear, a lot of insecurity, a fear of society, a fear of law enforcement. So slavery has made a major impact where the low self-esteem is consistently reoccurring. I think for me, growing up in Los Angeles, California in the early 1960s, there was a stereotype that I didn't want to be black, I didn't want to be African because we come from Africa or we're slaves. So I want to be a Chinese boy, I want to be Bruce Lee. So growing up like that, I didn't like myself and who I was. I didn't like the color.
That is so depressing to hear. Not to make it about myself, but I talked about this yesterday. As a child of immigrants, I felt a similar otherization, probably from a entirely different world, a different perspective than his. I acknowledge that. But I also felt like I didn't want to be myself. I wanted to be whiter. I mean, I look white. I'm very obviously white. But because I had, parents from Eastern Europe, I didn't feel white, I guess, in that same way, American. So I don't know. Obviously, his is a completely different perspective, but there's kind of my, relation
color of my
to it.
skin or the way that I spoke. So I emulated other people. I want to be something that I was not.
It's very
Yeah, I can
saddening
relate
when
to that
you
too.
can literally only go back a couple generations, and then it's like the documents just don't exist. There's no record. It's like, my family has completely been erased. In that same point too, in the time that we've been here, we've created an incredible culture, and we have so many things to be proud of. And I always reframe the narrative myself, and I speak of my ancestors that were enslaved as, doctors and healers, and it's like, we were taken because we were talented, because we had skills to offer. And we built this country, so.
And still building.
And still building, and that's something to take pride in, so.
Can the disagree step forward?
I'm very curious to how they spin it, because I did say, when the question was asked, like, maybe they would be like, either they don't know or, we'll see.
Slavery didn't affect my family, but we did suffer a different type of slavery back home. Like, we went to colonization, like.
Okay, so it's on a similar to what I said earlier.
I am Bamileke. There was a massacre of Bamileke. You guys can look it up. They killed more than 300,000 of my people because we didn't want to assimilate to the French culture.
So
but colonialism.
colonialism.
Nothing compared to what you guys' ancestor been through.
I wouldn't want to minimize that pain though. What you just said hurt me. That 300,000 people were killed because they would not conform to the colonization of the French people. So that is just as painful and hurtful as the trauma that we suffered here in America.
I can't share the same experience that you have went through and your family, even though we also had our own type of slavery. We had apartheid at the time, where the Dutch people took over and they wanted to just have South Africa, Namibia, and I think other countries where we could only just speak Dutch. It's somehow still happening even now. There's a place in South Africa where it's called Orania, and it's just Dutch people there. No black person is even allowed there.
That's
so we
crazy.
Still somehow feel that oppression even now, but it's nothing compared to what your ancestral history, has gone through. I'm somehow happy that you guys have forgiven it, even though you haven't forgotten it.
Who said anything about forgiveness? What? Wait a minute. Hold on, pull that back. No, these takes, in regard to, the Africans and this question are better than what I was expecting it to be.
Have you forgiven it? I mean, your face
Okay, yeah. It's yeah. Yeah, okay, perfect. Yeah, they're like, forgiveness? Wait a minute. Hold up.
But me personally, no, I haven't.
Yeah.
But I want to work through the change. But no, I have not forgiven because it's a system that's still going on. And from what I'm hearing from you guys, there's a system that's still going on in Africa as well. And it's a war on us.
Racism is the main cause of poverty among black people in America.
Okay, I gotta pee. BRB. Okay, interesting question. Racism is the main cause of poverty among black people in America. God, I hate the way Jubilee words their questions. Like, systemic racism? Absolutely. Like, unquestionable. What else could it be? You know what I mean? Like, what would a conservative, like a right-winger, say to this? Like, they would say, no, social welfare. Like, too much social welfare, too much support is the main cause of black poverty, of poverty in black people. And then, oh God, what else? They would say something else like black culture is an issue too. Like, those would be their big 2 points. Would be too much social welfare, and black culture. This vague notion of black culture. When really, no, it's the generational systemic racism that they've experienced since they've been forced to come to this country. That is the main cause of poverty. Okay, so who moved?
America.
Oh, that's loud, huh? Is that too loud? Hello? So 2 people from each side moved over. Skip did not move over. He seemed pretty on the ball in terms of like my understanding of these issues. Skip, racism the cause of poverty. I wonder what Skip's perspective is going to be, and I wonder what this guy's perspective is going to be. This is a very good question. Framed in a kind of a crappy Jubilee way, but ultimately this is a very good question, and I'm very curious to hear these people's perspective.
Racism is a very big issue that, talking about it, I'm really trying to be careful to not like say anything that will be insensitive. If opportunity is right here, they will give it to people of other race than African American and Africans too. So if there's a job that maybe have math requirement, I feel like they'll pick an Asian person, or they believe, oh, African Americans will not dress appropriate, so they will pick another person. They will always like pick people that are not black over people that are black. Yeah,
this is a pretty solid interpretation of, you know, some of hiring bias in the United States. You get a resume, you look at the name, and it matters. I say this as someone with, and I talked about this earlier in the video, like when I was younger, I felt like I wasn't white enough, you know, that's something that I felt. Because, and in large part because of my name. Like I said this yesterday, when like teachers would say my name in class, I would always feel really embarrassed. Like I felt like an other. And I'm going to be honest, I still feel that today. When I submit a job and someone sees my name, I'm worried they're going to think like, you know, obviously this is not a good way to think anybody. I would not think this way. I just think others might feel this way. They'll think like, oh, weird foreign person. They'll see my name and go, oh, he probably has an accent. Maybe he doesn't speak English well. It's not his first language. So they're going to pick someone who's more American than me, even though I've lived my entire life here. And again, not that that's like even remotely a good thing. Like, you should not feel that way, period. You should, you know, and hire based on experience and whatnot. Mine is like level 1 of that. These guys are like level 5 of that, like in terms of like racism or, you know, xenophobia, I guess, in my perspective, from my perspective, xenophobia. But yeah, no, she brings up a good point about like hiring bias for sure.
And I also think, I think the crucial like missing point when we talk about economic disparity, time. Time is the most valuable currency. And if you have like a stock that's like the American dream is the stock, and you know, during all that time, all that asset, the American dream was appreciating, and you're not allowed to take out business loans, you're not allowed to read, you're not allowed to write, you had to first fight to become 3/5 of a citizen, then you got Jim Crow, and then you got everything else. It's like, you're now having to buy in at a price so high because the time is irreparable. You can't get that back. One black person today cannot in one lifetime achieve what generations of white families were able to do simply because they didn't have to compete with us to do it.
Yeah, I agree with you totally. Like,
yeah, I was thinking, just like you said, from a historical standpoint, we start with slavery, then that's centuries, generations of stolen labor, like you said. Then we get into Jim Crow, which is just an extension of that. Then we have redlining, we have mass incarceration, we have events like the bombing of Tulsa and Rosewood in Florida, and all these different examples of our wealth being decimated. And I don't say that to come from a defeatist or a victim mindset, but I think if we just have an honest conversation about history and what we've gone through when we've been here, racism is definitely a big part of that. And there are a lot of successful Black Americans, a lot of millionaires, a lot of, business owners, but they're exceptions for sure for a reason. And there's a big difference between income and wealth. I would like to challenge the ideal that African Americans are lazy or that we don't have a good work ethic. I think there's this perception that, we're here, we're in America, how are we not doing better for ourselves? So.
That's a very good question. Why, like, I hate this question. Like I said earlier, like, okay, your answers are too much social welfare if you're, this is if you're a conservative. Your answers are too much social welfare or Black culture, whatever that is. The other option is, like what, there's no other option, like, period. Unless you're, like, being hyper racist and you're like, oh, they're just inferior. That explains it. No, that's fucked up. So you have to come up with, like, bullshit like the other two things I mentioned, which are still fucking racist. They're dog whistles, ultimately. To suggest anything other than the unthinkable trauma of slavery and then the unthinkable trauma of Jim Crow era America is the cause of Black people's problems today. You're either a fucking idiot, a fucking racist, or both.
I thought I was gonna be the only one staying. I was gonna be like, oh, I'm about to be like Kanye West, but
oh God, I almost did a spit take. Holy shit, dude.
Okay, there's a lot of things we can use as an excuse to hold us back, to not to reach our potential. But it's up to us to look past that. Like me coming from Africa, I came here to better my life, my family. I'm the only one here. And since I have been here, there's a lot of bad things that happen to me. There's also a lot of good things that happen to me. Us African or African American, we need to look past racism and just focus on our own goal. Like, what do we want to achieve?
Dude, you can't look past it if the effects are still being felt today. That's the problem.
We need to stop using the word racism when we don't get something or when something don't go our way, and just keep trying.
So let me jump in real quick.
Please,
No
someone
disrespect,
jump in.
but racism
Holy shit.
exists, and I have to acknowledge it. And I can't just ignore it. But what I can do is not buy into the system. If I want to do something, let me be the entrepreneur. What I believe happened in the 1960s is that we started looking for equal rights, to be equal with other people. And what we stopped doing, and I heard you talk about Tulsa, we stopped using the Black-owned businesses. Now, because you guys got to understand, the Fair Housing Act in 1968, I'm 5 years old. That's when we could move off the east side of LA and move into other subcultures. So what I wanted to do at 8 years old was go to IHOP. I didn't want to go to the Ma and Pa restaurant anymore. I wanted to go to, let's go eat at the hotels. So what we did is stop supporting each other and started supporting corporate America. So the racism plays a major part, but we don't have to buy into it.
I've been waiting to disagree with you, my brother. I'm waiting patiently. The thing is, even though I want to disagree with you, I get where you're coming from. When I see Black people talking about racism, all that stuff, I'll be like, what is wrong with these people? You guys have food, you have EBT, all this thing, and you're here shouting about somebody is racist too. Just leave that person and move on. Ooh. I feel that way. Like, why are they?
Yeah, I think they hear racism and at least this person thinks it's someone shouting to you the N-word on the street. That's not what the question is asking, really. It's framed in a shitty way to make you answer it in this way. But that's not what it's asking, really.
They're always complaining. But when Black Lives Matters started happening, I sat down, I said, I need to actually know why these people are pained. And if we look at the history, what they've done to them, like if you actually sit down, watch some documentaries, how they were maltreated, I don't think if I'm actually born, I will forgive those people. I don't care. It's easier for us Africans that were raised in Africa to feel like they're complaining because we were raised through struggle. Like I barely even have water, and you have water, you're complaining. But then it's not about the basic necessity or about how we are raised. We are raised like, I don't want to say way better. We might not have resources, but there are some way, like our own people will not look down on us or put us behind. So it's in they're nurtured that way. Like they just can't overlook it. And if you sit down and watch everything that the forefathers have been through for you, I changed my mind. No, they need to be angry. However, they should still move forward.
I mean, we have police brutality back home too.
True.
We have, like, if you go to Cameroon and then you see how that police officer treat us and they're black just like us, you're not even gonna believe it. You know, and in Cameroon we have this. Have you guys heard of the word like tribalism? So
yeah, it happens in Nigeria.
Yeah, so we do get oppressed too, and so when I'm saying like we need to like look past that, I'm not saying forget what happened to you guys or me. At the end of the day, we cannot just sit.
You can't look past it if the effects are still felt today and no restitution was given. I'm sorry, I have to disagree with this guy here.
And just grieve on the past. We have to be able to move on, but not forget. If I could choose a place to live, it would obviously be my country. I love my country, but right now, my country is not the best choice for me. There's a little genocide going on in Cameroon right now. So many innocent lives are being taken. If I was still in my country, the opportunity that I have here, I would not have those opportunities there.
Hip-hop reinforces stereotypes about the black community.
I'm too white to comment. Did everyone sit down?
In South Africa, we have our own version of hip-hop, so we call it kwaito. So they would rap in our own language, in different, we call it Vanek. So back home, it kind of did reinforce some stereotypes because now when you go out in the world, people will just classify you under one group. And growing up, also looking at American entertainment, looking at the hip-hop that's done here, I'm like, oh, well, you're rapping about drugs, you're rapping about this. Of course it's going to happen. Of course you're going to go to jail. But getting older, you see the culture as well of hip-hop. I had to understand that there's a culture within that.
I was alive when hip-hop started, and it was during a time where people rapped about what they saw, what they wanted in life. And then it became where people rapped about what they had been through, what they had gotten over, you know, used to sell drugs, used to hurt people, but now this is who they are. And I think it's gotten into now, and in our day and age now, it's where people are glorifying and wanting to pretend that these are the things that they do on a daily basis when it's not. So it went from storytelling to now really it's truly storytelling, but it's unhealthy for our culture.
I don't want to on my radio and all I'm hearing is, I put a bullet in it, something, like, I'm like, eh? That's what you would do? No, like, and then it's like, it's all about like talking about female body type.
I think all of what they're talking about is still a reflection of that trauma. Like, a lot of, oh God, I'm too white. So
I don't want to listen to something that portray me as a female.
Does, cancel me, fuck it. Are there reactionary takes, like reactionary beliefs in the black community? Like, yeah, I would say so. You know what I mean? Obviously lots of them in the white community. Every reactionary beliefs are like the baseline of every community. But when it comes to like the black community, I think it's still a reflection of that generational trauma is all I'm going to say about it.
That way, or something that is talking about how you put bullets in my head. Like if you actually do not come to America and see for yourself, you would think that most African Americans are carrying guns around and they just shoot randomly, or they just grab your ass or something like that. That's the way the music portrays them. And music is a very important element in our society because it influences a lot of people, both young and adult, and then they kind of see all those stuff and they act like that, even though that's not what they really want to be. They act like that and behave like that. Like if all these rappers are your role model, then you want to be like them. You want to be cool too. So in the end, it's about like the people that are packaging the music, and sometimes it's about trend. Is what people want to hear.
The American dream is only...
Damn, what a loaded ass but good question. The American dream is only for white people. This is such a complex question because, you know, you have like, if you look at like USA income by rate, ethnicity, sure. Like, here you go. Asians typically do better than white people, you know, not non-Hispanic white people. Then you get a huge, like, at this median income, you're able to live a comfortable life in America. Obviously, if you're earning 100K, you obviously can live a comfortable life. Here we're approaching not quite as comfortable. You know what I mean? And a lot of these are like, you know, well, okay, so this is median. Never mind. But still, like, it isn't just for white people. These people were severely affected by colonialism in ways that a lot of Asian countries weren't. I thought this said Jordan B. Peterson Foundation. I was like, hold on, what website am I fucking on? But no, Peter G. Peterson is actually a pretty progressive organization. Anyway, it's not just for white people, but if your country was affected by white people, you're probably gonna have a difficult time getting that American dream. Let's put it that way. Yeah.
Only for white people.
Damn. Is that Skip? Oh, okay.
I believe that the American dream is only for white people because it says equal. And when we talk about equal, there's no equality between the 1%, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Trumps, and the people who really run the media and things of that nature. So for black people growing up in America and living in America, we could become rich, we could become wealthy, but we are not on the equal playing field of white America. The system of white supremacy, which is in the law enforcement,
Yes.
which is
Oh,
in
God,
the
yes.
judicial system, which is in the prison industrial association,
Yes,
also
dude.
in the politics. We are not equal in any of those terms.
Yep. Fucking spitting. Is he joining?
When I was back there and when you were speaking, I started thinking, like, could we ever actually, as black people, have the American dream here in America? And I don't know if we really can, being...
Not right now.
I'm trying to be careful with my words, but I do think there needs to be...
Not while these...
A degree of separatism.
institutions
like,
still
black
exist.
people, we really need to have our own to fully take part in that dream.
This is their system. Why would we dream of being equal in a system that wasn't designed for us?
The American dream, at least the way that I define it, is, you know, freedom of opportunity, freedom to choose what I want to do, freedom to acquire wealth the same way that anybody else can. Obviously, we're fighting the tides of time on that and our circumstances, but it's hard because it's hard to honor that, but then also want more for myself. And I think that as black people, we're always teeter-tottering on that line of like, well, am I American? Like, do I get the American dream, or do we just tear all this down and build something new? White people are not the only people entitled to the American dream, ever. Yeah. And I think that that's why we're all here, because our ancestors made it so that we can stand here and pursue that American dream.
I wouldn't have been here if it meant that it was not for everyone. I wouldn't have even entered America. You know, I feel like not just African, but other people as well in different countries. And from what I have seen, I've seen other people, even Africans and African Americans, succeeding in their own way. And that's why I feel like you said, you can interpret the American dream in a different way. whatever industry or whatever it is that you're focusing on, because there is a level of opportunity there. There is some way that you can be successful. You know, talking about Trevor Noah, you know, who took over The Daily Show, it wouldn't have been possible for him coming in as an African. He got his American dream. It made us as well, other Africans, believe that it is possible.
The American dream writes his check. So he gets to have wealth or whatever it is that he's experiencing, but the American dream is the one who writes his check, not him.
I agree with you. I agree with you. But do you see how we would put it as he had his American dream, even though someone writes his check? But for him, or for some of us looking at it on the other side, that's his American dream, because his goal was to get there. The biggest cultural shock I saw coming here was definitely the lifestyle, because the lifestyle I saw of America, especially Los Angeles, was portrayed as a very rich lifestyle. And of course, I came here as a student, and coming here, living here, and seeing the reality of it, seeing different homeless people, disadvantaged people, was really a cultural shock for me, because I didn't expect to see that. And I guess also the way people were handling each other, because coming in as an African, I thought people were together. But since being here, I saw that there was a huge divide, or there is still a huge divide within the African American community themselves.
If he had stayed in South Africa, would he have the same opportunity that he had here?
No.
No.
Like, you know, so corporate is writing his check, but like us growing up, the reason we move here is because we don't have it better back home. Like me, like for me, I'm the first person ever in my family in America. Everybody else is back home. Everybody is depending on me. All of them, my mom, she's dying to come here. Like, she's willing to do anything just for her to be in America. So for me, when I look at those like little things, I'm like, yeah, American dream is for everybody, you know? Like, yeah, we might not have the same opportunity as the white people, but there's still that little chance that a lot of us back home are willing to take just to get here.
I trust law enforcement.
I don't have a thing to say.
All right, can the disagreeer step forward?
Let's go, dude. Yeah, I mean, do I even have to answer this question? Like, I mean, oh shit, what's up, X Arco? Hey, how's it going? Sorry I didn't see your message till just now. Hope it wasn't too long. What's going on? Welcome to the show. If you're still here, again, you could have chatted 10 minutes ago, and I wouldn't have seen it because I didn't have chat pulled up. Yo, still here. How am I doing? I'm doing good. How are you? Getting over a little bit of a cold or something, but I'm doing good. Talking about stuff I have no business talking about. But what else is new? How are you? What's going on? What can I do for you? You just here to chat? Want to watch some stuff? We can talk all night long. I got nothing going on. How'd you find the stream? This time of year sucks for sickness, dude. Yeah, let me tell you. November 1st, I take a COVID test. Boom, I have COVID. I'm testing positive for 3 weeks. I'm vaxxed, double boosted. Testing positive for 3 weeks. I'm done with COVID. A week later, like maybe probably two weeks later, flu. Boom. Have the flu for like a week and a half. And now I have whatever I just had. Probably RSV. I don't know if you're from the States, but we've got like a lot of sicknesses going around, especially in my area. In the Pacific Northwest, we've had a lot of pretty severe illnesses. But yeah, it has not been fun. Yeah. Part of it is, my household has been pretty stringent about COVID for the last 2 years. And so that's like 2 years of, masking, distancing, not really seeing people too much. And then we've been a little bit less stringent now, and so we've been getting all these illnesses. I'm from United States, not states. Can you clarify what you mean, ex-Arco? USA? So you're from the USA, but not a state? So DC? A territory? How'd you find this stream, by the way? You're from the USA. Okay. I guess I just didn't fully get your comment. I'm from the United States, not states. East Coast. Damn, it's late for you, dog. It's 1 a.m. I'm going to be up till around then, too, so no judgment here. But yeah, how'd you find this stream? I'm very curious. I've only been streaming for a couple days. I was scrolling through Twitch. You looked cool. Holy shit. Like, scrolling through, like, just chatting or something? Like, that's wild. Because, like, I mean, I've got, like, 0 viewers. Isn't it usually sorted by, like, the most viewers? You were just scrolling through just chatting? That's crazy, dude. Cool. That gives me a little bit of hope that, like, I don't know, somehow, because I have no clue how to grow this stream. I'm actually a former streamer. I had a old channel that I was actually partnered on, but I wanted to start fresh. But yo, someone followed. Did I not have my... It's probably you, right? Let me see. How do I... It's been so long since I've switched. Yo, ex-Arco. Thank you for the follow, dude. Really appreciate it. Do I not have notifications set up, though? There we go. Here. I had it on the wrong layer. Yeah, I want to give you your due. I want to give you your due. Recent events. ex-Arco. There we go. Let's go. Follower number 5 or 6 on this new channel. Really appreciate it, ex-Arco. Hey, there we go. What are you into, man? The thing I'm going to do on this channel, so I used to be a Hearthstone streamer. I don't know if you're familiar with Hearthstone. It's like a trading card. It's like a online card game. But now I want to do more like just chatting stuff. So like reacting to videos. Hey, let's go! Can't react to that. But like reacting to videos, like current events, politics, fun, cool stuff. See how that goes. So like this one's a little bit more political focused. But yeah, so I don't know. I'm just kind of messing around. I'm going to try streaming every day for a while, see how it goes. But I appreciate you coming around. Did I graduate from Wazoo? Yes, sir. Class of 2017. I'm an old man now. I'm an old man. I first started streaming after I graduated. That was my first like job. Major, it was called Digital Technology and Culture, which is it's like part of the like communications field. That was an interesting program. It like on the talking to my advisor, like you could work for all these different kind of careers, and it's like didn't end up being like that. Mans, yeah, that's all right. My current day job is in marketing, so like I handle digital marketing for like a startup. It's like an app. And my degree, the things I learned from it definitely help with that. What about you? You a student? What do you got going on? You like Baby Yoda? Yeah, he's cool. My significant other and I exchange Christmas sweaters every year. So this is whatever year Mando came out. I think it's like that first year, maybe the year after. But yeah, I've got 8 of these now. We've been doing it for almost 10 years now. May the Force be with you. Yeah, I asked her this year, could this year be the last year we do this? Because one, I'm a thoughtless asshole. She's like the most thoughtful person ever, so she like buys my sweater in like November. I'm a giant asshole. Geno Smith or Russell Wilson? That's a tough question, dog. Do I got my Russell Wilson jersey here? No. I mean, that's a big question, bro. That's a big question. I mean, in what way? Like, who's the better player? Probably Russell Wilson. I'm convinced that the coach of the Denver Broncos is a hack, and he doesn't know what he's doing. He's not in a good offensive mind. And I think when they fire him this year, who do I respect more? Probably Russ. Like, Russ seems like hella fake, you know? Like, people say, oh, he's fake, he's fake, he's fake. But he, like, never missed a week going to the Seattle Children's Hospital. Like, he went every week. So whether he's fake or not, like, the man, like, did a lot of good shit. He was, I don't know if you, like, know much about football, but he was the Walter Payton Man of the Year, which is, like, the NFL's highest honor given to the player who demonstrated the most, like, community service. So, like, Russ did really good shit. Geno, he got a DUI going like 90 in like a 35 miles an hour like earlier this year. January. He was doing 96 on a DUI. So like, I don't know. Some of Russ feels a little fake, feels a little corporate, but ultimately probably I respect him more. But like, who's the better quarterback this year? I mean, Geno Smith is like a top 5. Yeah, let's go, dude. I mean, are you just like, are you into football? Like, do you have a team that you watch, or you just kind of on the bubble, like cultural osmosis or whatever? But you know, Geno's been like top 5 or top 6 in every metric. Like, he's a dog, dude. Eagles fan, born and raised. All right. Must be pretty happy about this season. Yeah, you guys are my pick to win the Super Bowl. Like, for the first, like, 8 games, I was like, the Eagles aren't real. The Eagles aren't real. I said this without, like, watching any highlights. But I was like, Eagles aren't real. Feeling pretty good. Yeah, I mean, I think you guys are going to win it. Like, I don't see... It's either going to be you or the 49ers. NFC Championship game is going to be you and the 49ers for sure. But Hope Hurts wins MVP. Yeah, I mean, you probably know better than me, but like, is he that guy, or is he held up by, like, he was a little off today but still won? Yeah, you guys played the Bears, right? Is he like that guy, or is he held up by like other good players? He's him. Okay. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I haven't watched too many Eagles games this year, so I'm kind of talking out of my ass. This year he's been very good. Yeah, I watched more Eagles games last year, and he's class of 2020, right? So this is his 3rd year with y'all. Yeah, 2020. Yeah, that's why I'm talking shit, but like, I don't think he's him. Because those first 2 years where he was kind of meh. But okay, if he's him, he's him. Like, like I said, I think you guys are gonna win the Super Bowl. Oh man, I don't know if you've been following the Seahawks, but we started 6-3 and we've lost 4 out of our last 5, with our one win being like a close game against like the shittiest Rams team. They didn't have Aaron Donald. They didn't have Cooper Kupp. They didn't have Matthew Stafford, and we barely eked out a Geno Smith final drive to win. Yeah, I love football. Yeah, I mean, I like it too. I like it more when the Seahawks are winning. Just had to watch my boys get wrecked twice in a row on Sunday and then Thursday. And now we got to face the Chiefs at home. That's our next game. Yeah, we're going to get fucked. Although the Chiefs their defense is like vulnerable, right? Like, so I actually think we might make it a shootout. But holy shit, dude. Yeah, exactly, man. Against the Texans. I was watching that game. So yeah, defensively, I think the Chiefs are vulnerable. The problem is for the Seahawks anyway, defensively, the Seahawks are extremely vulnerable. Our defense has been absolute ass. Who do the Eagles have left to play? I don't even know. The Boys, the Saints, and the Giants. Dude, you think you're going to win out? Did you see Cowboys Jaguars? No. I had a something going on today, so I couldn't watch too much stuff. Cowboys lost. I was loving it. Yeah, man. Always good to see a rival lose. They lost on a pick 6 in overtime, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, as an Eagles fan, I'm sure you loved it. Do you think you're going to win out? Because, like, damn. What's your one loss? Was it against the Commies? I want to say against the Commies. Dude, if y'all win the Super Bowl and oh god, that one commie lost was against the Commanders. Yeah. Eagles need to win one more game this season and clinch the division. Yeah. You're going to clinch the number 1 seed, like unquestionably, right? Like who's even knocking on your door? Like Niners and Cowboys would both have to win out for you to not get number 1 seed. Oh no, Vikings, which I watched that game. My significant other's from Minnesota, so her family, they've all moved to Washington here now. Her parents anyway, they were Vikings fans. So I'm kind of like a they're like my second team, I guess, the Vikings. And like Chargers are my AFC team. That game was really good. Yeah, man, 33-0 at the half, and then they fucking come back. I know, dude. Biggest comeback in NFL history. I mean, you can't throw that out, but like holy shit, Matt Ryan, dude. His legacy is going to be the biggest choke master in the history of the sport. I mean, you've got the biggest choke in the history of the sport last Sunday. You've got 28-3. I saw an image. Oh god, where was it? Matt Ryan chokes. It was like on Twitter or something. Can I find it? No. It was like 6 chokes from Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan is booty. Dude, he won MVP in 2016. Didn't he? But yeah, he's fallen off. I mean, there's a reason the Falcons didn't try to keep him. Ever since Andrew Luck left, the Colts have been just like cycling through shitty, like washed up quarterbacks, haven't they? Anyway, I don't know how my Seahawks are going to make the playoffs. I thought we were like, I was telling my boss like earlier this year when we were 6-3, I was like, yeah, dude, our ceiling is losing the NFC Championship game. I was telling him, I think we're going to lose the NFC Championship game to the Eagles. That's where we're going. And then holy shit, we just fell off. Wentz? Yeah, Wentz. That was your guy too, huh? Steph Champion's looking slim. Yeah, dog. Let's see. Where's my Seahawks? Oh no, dude. We're so low. All right, we lose against KC. We win against New York. We win against the Rams. We have a 60% chance to make it in. So, what do we got to do? We got to have the Giants lose. Okay, what if the Giants... Oh, okay, we need the... Yeah, so the Seahawks... What if the Seahawks win out? Does that... Okay, so if the Seahawks win out, what happens if the Giants win another one? Yeah, I'm not going to play around with this too much longer because it's kind of... I don't know. But there's a path. There's a path. Anyways... I mean, there's hope at least. Yeah. Are you guys ranked 1 on 538? Yeah. Who do you think you're gonna beat in the Super Bowl? How about that question? Who do you think you're gonna beat? Bills or Chiefs? I'll make it super easy. Are you gonna beat the Bills or are you gonna beat the Chiefs? Bills. You're not going to gift them the win, dude? Their first win? I mean, you know how it feels, right? To get your first win just a couple of years ago. Can't see the Bills losing to the Chiefs in the playoffs 3 years in a row. Yeah. Oh man, their game last year, dude. Was that the like 13? Was that what 13 seconds game? It's called. Yeah, you can't get Patrick Mahomes. You can't get Patrick Mahomes 1 second, dude. He'll come back. I'm surprised to see the Cowboys above the Niners. Game was crazy. Hell yeah, dude. I don't know. I don't think the Cowboys are this good. Dak Prescott's been kind of ass this year too, huh? All these, well, yeah, that's true. They're America's team, bro. They're America's team. I mean, the NFC East in general, like, I mean, obviously you're a fan of the NFC, you're a fan of an NFC East team, but the NFC East in general gets a lot of dick riding from media. You know what I mean? I mean, big markets. Like, what are you gonna do? But I got nothing against the Eagles. You know, as a Seahawks fan, we got no tension, right? What was our last like interesting thing that happened? We played in the playoffs in 2019, and we beat you guys because like Wentz had a broken thumb or something. The only interesting thing I remember about that was the score was the same score as our regular season game that year. It was like 17-9. Besides Clowney, what about Clowney? Oh, was that in that playoff game? I think I vaguely remember that. Yeah, Clowney, Wentz. Yeah, Stephen A. Smith. Carson Wentz had memory loss. Video screenshot, no. Let's see.
Obviously, things changed somewhat dramatically. They were so beat up going.
Let's see the hit.
Player put it
They're gonna show it. Are you gonna show it?
Soon he's going down. He kind of dives on him. It looks
just photos. Yeah, no, I mean I remember that. Yeah, that was probably early on in the game too. I'm biased, but I wasn't have it. I mean, no one in Seattle like loves Clowney. Like he's kind of known for playing a little bit dirty, right? Generally speaking, I don't know. Who does he even play for? Wasn't he like a first overall pick or something? He's a first overall pick, and I don't even know who he plays for. Cleveland for 2 years. So yeah, I mean, he fell off. He was never as good as people thought he was going to be, but like, he did not do amazing in Seattle. Sorry about the hit on your boy. I mean, do you like Wentz? Like, I think like Eagles fans have like kind of a tricky relationship with Wentz. Anyway, if you joined because you saw like my Seahawks hat and you're like, well, I'll talk about football to this guy, I'm totally down to talk football whenever. But like, the most of the stuff I'm going to be doing on this channel is going to be like, I don't know, politics, reacts, news. I don't know. Like I said, this is something like my 4th stream on this channel. Don't really care for him anymore, but at the time I loved him. Yeah. I don't know. Who this is a dumb question. Who's he playing for now? Is it the commies? Yeah, okay. He's like injured or something, right? Like, yeah, okay. That's why. Like, I haven't been following the commies too closely. But he got injured, and it's like Taylor Heineke is their current quarterback, right? Did not play due to injury. Won the Super Bowl. Did not play due to injury. 2022 Washington Commanders season. Wentz. Oh, yeah, you guys had a game against Wentz earlier. Duh. Should have been, I mean, would have been 2. Anyways. I hope you have fun with your Super Bowl win. Hope they grease the polls or whatever they got to do, right? I'm a politics guy. I like the reformed Rabbi Bill Clinton. Yeah, what was with that? He was a good rabbi. Yeah, that was the kid who stormed the Game Awards or whatever. What are your political beliefs, ex-Arco? If you're a politics guy. Left, right, center. I was thinking of maybe doing a political compass test. Uh-oh. I mean, we could disagree. We could disagree. I'm pretty, you know. Full disclosure, I don't know if you read my description. I'm pretty left-leaning. So you're going to hear takes that are, if you're not left-leaning, you're going to hear takes you're going to disagree with. So I don't mind if you just want to talk football or whatever. Hop in, talk football, hop out, that sort of thing. But yeah, you might, you know, pretty right-leaning, but do not hate on people. All right. I mean, that's the most I could hope for. I respect people's beliefs. Okay. I mean, like, you don't have to respect every belief. Like, I don't respect Kanye's beliefs. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, so full disclosure, I'm not right-leaning. So again, whatever you want to do, it's up to you. Like, you probably would severely disagree with some of the stuff I've said in regard to this video already. I'm not going to judge you because you're left-leaning. All right, I'm not going to judge you because you're right-leaning. Okay, could leave it at that. What do you think of Joe Brandon? You don't like Joe Brandon? I don't like Joe Brandon either, but probably because of different reasons than you. Not a fan. Yeah, it's one of those things where, like, you're not a fan because he's too left-leaning. I'm not a fan because he's too right-leaning. From my perspective, the Democrats are a right-leaning party. Like, I'm gonna tell you straight up. Like, from like a global political perspective, the Democrats are pretty right-leaning. I think even the left knows they could have done better for them. I'm gonna keep it a buck, dude. The Democrats are not the left. Like, the Democrats are a center-right party, generally speaking. So, like, the actual left-leaning people, yeah, like, we don't like the Democrats in general. Like, I dislike the Democrats, not for the reasons you dislike the Democrats, because you dislike them because they're too left. I dislike them because they're not left enough, in my opinion. And that's how I feel with the GOP. The GOP has been letting themselves turn into the left. In what way? Like, policy-wise, or like, like being annoying? You know what I mean? Like, I'll call out, like, rad libs and shit for being annoying. You'll probably think a lot of shit I say is annoying. That's fine. But, like, what do you mean by the GOP is letting themselves turn into the left? Like, they're moving too far left, like, policy-wise? Because, like, if you look at, like, oh, man, what was the... Let me see if I can find it. What I'm trying to think of. Congress, politics, means over time. Yeah. This is what I was talking about. So this is Pew Research Center. Since the 70s, right? The Democrats have, like, barely moved to the left. They've, like, inched to the left, like, the tiniest amount. Meanwhile, since the 70s, the Republicans have gone severely more right-wing. A little, yes, but, like, Mitch McConnell, used to like him, but he's a sellout like the rest of them. I mean, brother, I'm gonna tell you right now, every single one of these motherfuckers in Congress is a sellout, like, straight up. Like, there's not a single person who goes into politics today, given the way our systems are structured, that is not a sellout. Like, that's just what it is. Like, there's some who are better than others. Like, you can look at, like, who's donating to them how much they're taking from like corporate interests and shit. But it's so corrupt, it's sad. Yeah, I mean, it sucks. But yeah, I mean, I'm not like a both sides Andy. I think they're both bad because, again, I'm more left-leaning, and I think they're both ultimately neoliberal right-wing forces. But yeah, in terms of corruption, they're both incredibly corrupt. They're both, you know, you're gonna think I'm an annoying liberal. I wouldn't call myself a liberal, but you're gonna call me an annoying liberal. I think they both operate at the behest of capital, at the behest of the rich, at the behest of the wealthy, and not at the behest of the people's best interests. So that's where I find the frustration. Like, I think, you know, you're right-leaning, you probably disagree that government is the solution for most things in general, period. I think government can and should be a useful tool for, you know, a society to function. But I think it needs to operate at the behest of, you know, the people and not the few with money. And unfortunately, both of our parties operate at the behest of people with money, not you and me. I mean, I don't know how much money you have. I think the government has been starting to overreach. It's like you think government's been getting bigger over time? I would say kind of the opposite. We're giving more power to corporations and the wealthy. That's who has all the power. That's who decides what happens to us plebeians. You know what I mean? That's who holds all the keys. I mean, I won't disagree in certain capacities, like, you know, the Patriot Act, like going back old school now. That's like 20 years old. But things like that. They're trying to become judge, jury, and executioner and control citizens, I mean, I don't want to put you on the spot or whatever, but do you have like an example, a recent example of something that stands out to you? If not, I mean, I get it. Like, if you're talking more broadly, that's fine. But if something does stand out, I'm curious, you know, what you would, if you have anything specific. Who do you like among current Republican politicians? Are there any that you do like? Are you a Trump guy? Are you a DeSantis guy? Are you what's a funny third option? All my references are old. I'm gonna be like Ben Carson. I don't know. Did you vote for Dr. Oz or John Fetterman? Well, something I didn't like was the vaccine mandates. I don't have any problem with the vaccines, but I didn't appreciate what they did by trying to force people losing their jobs, etc. Okay, fair enough. I think that's an interesting perspective that I respect. Yeah, it's just, you're gonna hate me, dude. I kind of disagree, because we, like, every other vaccine is mandated, right? Like, to get those same jobs, you need a polio vaccine. You might cite like, oh, this was a new vaccine, it was experimental. I think that's also not accurate. This vaccine went through the same rigorous trials as any other, but just some of the red tape, like, it was moved to the front of being authorized of the line. There's like 1 million drugs being asked for authorization every year, and all they did was move COVID to the top to be examined, the COVID vaccines. But ultimately, like, they're given the same amount of scrutiny as any other like piece of medicine in the medical epidemiological industry. These COVID vaccines. So like that's kind of my perspective. Is like, well, we already have 100 vaccine mandates for polio, measles, whatever the fuck, you know, name 100 things. So this was just like another one of them. But I mean, I can see, you know, the reaction to it, and I understand the reaction to it and why people would feel that way. And even then though, like, vaccine mandates, how this is something I don't have a ton of perspective on, because I never had to work anywhere with a vaccine mandate, but it was mostly government jobs, I think. but they were emergency use authorized, and I feel that was rushed. I mean, we could go into Google searching all day, back and forth. I'm going to take your perspective, and I'll just give you mine. And from what I've read, the research I've done, or whatever, the things I've heard, that's not the perspective I've seen. But thank you for sharing yours. You know, I absolutely respect it. But yeah, I'll tell you, I think it is incorrect. I'm gonna keep it a buck. Like, but even that, like, what about now? It's been 3 years. We've done a lot more testing on it now. We've seen the effects. Like, we know it's a safe, like any other piece of medicine. Like what about now? Like, if it was a required, I think we need unbiased news. Man, it's sad. How would you, I mean, this is a big fucking question, right? But maybe you have some perspective. How would you, what does, like, how could we have unbiased news? Like, that's a question I have. Like, I don't have the answer to that. I can't give you any perspective on that. But if it was possible, how could we possibly have unbiased news? I know, man. I mean, are you agreeing with me that there is no answer to that? Like, are we just going to be doom-pilled? Like, there's no way to have unbiased news? I mean, where does the bias come from, right? I don't know. I just wish we could be like a united country. Yeah, there is no answer. So from your perspective, there is no way for news to be unbiased. So should we just get rid of the institution of news in general? I mean, there's like Reuters, which is just like, here's what happened. You know, start, stop, here's what happened. Where are those media bias charts? Is it this one? Like, I don't know if I agree with this chart, you know, for the most part. I'm sure you would say that this is a left-wing biased chart, and I think that that's perfectly fair. Too many agendas and too many... So you use the word lobbyist here, which I find interesting. Like, that's getting, like, money out, like, money, right? Like, capital out of our institutions. And I think that's a big step. If we remove lobbying, if we make, like, the sources of income for these news sources more clear, then maybe we could have less bias. It's like, yeah, you have, like, some ones that are just, you know, fact reporting. Like, they're not giving you any analysis. So, like, Reuters, NPR News Now. Have you seen this chart? Like, I'm curious what you, from your perspective, can you see all of it? So you've got, I don't know. What do you think of this one? Here's a big one as a right-leaning individual. CNN here under complex analysis or mix of fact reporting analysis. What do you think of CNN being up here? And how about this? Fox News being down here. Does that, like, stand out to you as, like, this chart being biased? Anything in this chart stand out to you from a right-leaning perspective? Don't care for either. I don't even like Fox News. Where do you get your news typically then? Like a variety of sources, or anyway. Okay, real quick, what do you think of this question here? Like, I trust law enforcement. What do you think of this question? I get it on, like, Newsmax and a variety of sources. Okay. Newsmax is that's more right-wing than Fox News. Like, from my perspective, that's, like, several factors less reliable than Fox News, in my opinion. Yeah, Newsmax is down here, like, for this chart, in the going into the less reliable world. Here you can see there's Newsmax, Breitbart, One American News, Ben Shapiro, PragerU. That's here in the selective or incomplete unfair persuasion / propaganda section. That's why Only Fox Family is starting to sell it too. I mean, you don't think Newsmax is selling out? Again, you think they're not funded by people? Like, all these guys are funded by people. You know what I mean? Like, let's go back to my question. Yeah, that's fine. Absolutely, dude. Do you trust law enforcement? Are there any political content creators you do watch? Do you watch like Ben Shapiro or Steven Crowder? Do you think that our criminal justice system in the United States is, 1, fair, 2, ethical? That's another question. Like, I'm asking you a bunch of questions, but I'm curious from your perspective. Because I'm gonna be honest, I'm in a bubble. I actually don't like. I live in a pretty conservative area, but I don't really interact with too many conservatives. At this point, I grew up around conservatives. I personally grew up very conservative. Around 18 is when I started moving more leftward. I'm 28 now. But no, I was very conservative as a teenager. I wasn't like politically active. It's just like if you were to just write down my beliefs, the things I thought about the world, they would more align with pretty solidly right wing. This is funny because both of my parents were law enforcement officers. Interesting. So you're a law enforcement family, okay? My uncle was, my cousin is, and it runs in the family. I was in the police academy too for a little, so I've been on the job my whole life. I've had nothing but good encounters with them, but of course there are bad ones, just like in anything. Okay. Yeah, I could talk all day about this kind of thing. My best friend, former best friend, you're a lot closer than I am. So we don't talk much anymore because he's kind of gone more right-wingy and I've gone more left-wingy, but he became a cop. So that's the closest I've gotten to knowing a police officer. But from my perspective, having learned about like what police trainees learn in police academy, the way those police academies operate, and then looking at like how police operate in the United States, to me it feels like a fundamentally broken institution. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not like, I don't know, like, I think we need some amount of policing to have a functional society. Abso-fucking-lutely. I think that's one of the issues with the left is our slogans fucking suck. So when you hear something like defund the police, you automatically think that means like end policing, right? Like, I fucking hate that slogan. I'll tell you right now, in 2020, I was still pretty left-leaning, but I heard that slogan after like the George Floyd murder. Defund the police started cropping up. I heard that and I was like, am I taking crazy pills? Like, the left wants to defund the police? That's, what an absurd, like, stupid statement. Turns out, defund the police really is saying we need to, like, remake the police, which I probably agree with. I think the way it operates right now is not healthy or functional, really, honestly, personally. So I'm not... If you were to take defund the police, just those 3 words, I don't believe that one bit. I absolutely think we need police. And I think there are a lot of good police who do a lot of good things. Terrible choice for slogan. Bro, all of the left's slogans fucking suck. Like, I was watching a video yesterday. It was about, like, Black Lives Matter versus All Lives Matter. Like, this is the same thing. When 2014, when Black Lives Matter cropped up, I heard that shit. And I was like, what do you mean Black Lives Matter? What about me? I'm white. I matter. But that's not what the slogan says. It's saying a lot more than that. But the slogan fucking sucks. Yeah, no, the left has an absolute monster of a messaging problem. Anyway, I feel like I'm just rambling. In regard to law enforcement, yeah, I think we need law enforcement. I think the way the way law enforcement operates in the United States has a fuck ton of issues, like fundamental, like from the bottom up issues, and that's not even getting into like the judicial system, the prison system. This is another place where we're probably going to divert completely. I think the American prison system is like horrifically fucked up. To like put it in like a one sentence like tidbit, my belief, I think prisons, incarceration should be more about rehabilitation and teaching rather than punishment. Because I think people who do commit crimes, I think crime at all is a failure of the system, typically, not a failure of the individual. And so I think we need to help. I sounds so contradictory. We need to help criminals. We need to teach criminals. Punishment doesn't do anything. Recidivism rates are higher in prisons where we don't offer any sort of rehabilitation. I think, hell yeah, dude. Fuck yeah, man. That's awesome. That is not a common, from my perspective, a common belief in the United States, whether you're a Democrat or Republican. And I say that instead of left or right, because again, from my perspective, the Democrats are not left. And for the most part, the Democrats are not advocating for a rehabilitative approach. They are advocating for a punitive approach, which is what we currently have. I feel as though crime is that's the like, that is the, how do I say this? The like, the line in the sand for like you, me, left, right. Yeah, I fundamentally disagree with that premise. I think crime of all kind, whether it's white collar, whether it's blue collar, whatever collar you fucking want, I think it is a evidence of systemic problems, systemic failures, rather than the individual. And if we solve those systemic problems, I think crime will go away for the most part. That is my like overhead approach. Like obviously this is like, you know, we could talk for 16 and a half hours on this topic alone. But that is my like basic opinion on that. But that is really, really good to hear that you, as a, I don't know, would you call yourself a conservative? Probably, probably. As a conservative, the fact that you also feel we should use our prisons and our prison budgets and whatnot as more of a rehabilitative, like, I'm not saying we should give them, you know, a 5-star hotel treatment. Like, I'm not saying that. Like, there should be a balance of rehabilitation and punitive measures, obviously. But I think right now we go way too far in the punitive. Am I even saying that shit right? And not enough in the rehabilitation. And I think, like, there have been tons of studies, there's tons of evidence that the rehabilitative approach prevents recidivism. The problem is the way our systems are structured, we actually want more recidivism in a lot of contexts. But should it be focused on making them happy and comfortable all the time? Yeah, I could probably agree. Yeah, I would agree with that. See, there we go, man. We're finding shit we agree on. That's important, right? You know, no matter what, that's important. I'm sure if we talk more, there would be, this is how society should be, this stream. to diehard NFL fans finding some middle ground despite our pretty disparate political beliefs. Sure. Maybe. We can have some conversations and discussions, but our political leaders can't. Yeah, and act like babies. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. Are there? I think I asked you this earlier. I don't know if you replied. Were there any are there any politicians you like? I'm just curious. Like, period. Like, are you a DeSantis guy? Are you I don't know. Who's some other prominent? Like I said, Trump. Are there any people on the left? Any Democrats that you at all respect? I voted for Trump in 2020. We'll be voting for DeSantis in 2024 if he wins the nom. Okay. Couldn't vote in 2016, or you probably would have voted for Trump in 2016. I mean, he's probably a shoo-in. Like, you like Tulsi Gabbard? She's not a, she was always a reactionary conservative. I mean, left-leaning people were saying this from day one about Tulsi. So I'm saying that's not a gimme. She's a right-winger. She always has been. Like, she's hosting Tucker Carlson's show right now. She's never been a part of the left. I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm gonna keep it a buck. Tulsi, I'm not allowing Tulsi. Is there anyone other than Tulsi? If the answer is no, that's fine. Because I'm gonna keep it honest. I can't name any Republicans I like or respect very much, because I'll tell you right now, I can name very few Democrats I like or respect very much. Probably on this hand, I could name 5 total, maybe, Democrats. All the other Democrats suck. And so for me, yeah, the Republicans are worse than the Democrats, you know, in terms of the things I want. You can, yeah, that's fair, dude. That's fair. I mean, I get it. I mean, like, I'm sure you could. How did I feel about Yang? Like, some of the ideas were fine. Like, his big thing was UBI. So ultimately, he felt like, you know, a pretty stereotypical Democrat, like maybe one of the more left-ish leaning Democrats, with one, like, you know, big ticket item, which was the UBI thing. But overall, like, I didn't think too much about him. He started his own party, the Forward Party, which I think is like the biggest joke ever. Their rhetoric is all about like, oh, we got to find the middle ground. We got to like unite or whatever, which I don't know. I don't disagree with fundamentally, maybe, I don't know. But my issue with Yang, currently, and his Forward Party is they don't list any policy. And it's just like, people are asking them like every day, what are you guys' policies? What do you want for this country? And they're like, I think they literally said, we're not going to give you any policy opinions. They're all vibes. Like, that's the problem with Yang right now. He's all vibes. No, you might hate me for this, but I'm a Bernie guy. Like, Bernie's a lot closer to how I feel, the things I want, you know. Bernie, I'm going to hit you with the AOC. So, yeah, that's more my speed. The center, like, I would call them center left. You, like, from an American perspective, they're the most left-wing currently elected. But from, like, a global perspective, they're more center-left. The Democrats are center-right. Republicans right to far right. Do I know Nico Lull? He sounds familiar. Is he a content creator or she? She's a streamer who likes Bernie. Wearing a Bernie 2020 crop top. Yes. Oh my god. Oh, 400k followers. Yeah, like, I don't follow too many streamers or content creators, honestly. Like, is she a streamer you like who likes Bernie? Because that's cool, you know. The name sounds familiar, but no, I don't know her too much. You don't like her? Oh, okay. Here's a real one. Do you know who Hasanabi is? Just thought of her when you mentioned Bernie. Do you know who Hassan is? Now you're gonna hate me, right? I like Hassan. I'm banned in his chat. Same here, actually, believe it or not, because I made a bad joke and blocked on. Hassan blocked you on Twitter. I mean, I'm a big Hassan fan. What did I make? What? No, I'm a big Hassan fan. But yeah, he's got some thin skin. Oh, like joke? What the fuck did I say? Oh yeah. Okay. It was he was covering Amber Heard and Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial, right? And he said, I think Amber Heard's gonna win. And that was his like position on that. And so the thing I said was, because after Johnny Depp, he pretty much won. After he won, I said, wow, this is like your second Ukraine moment, SMH. Which, for more context, he said Putin wouldn't invade Ukraine. And so a lot of the controversy in his community was, and like people just dunking on him, was like, well, you said Putin wasn't going to invade Ukraine, but look, he invaded Ukraine, you're a fucking idiot. And so I said, yeah, nice limo. I said, this is like your second Ukraine moment because he got that wrong, he got this wrong. He pulls it up, he reads it for a second, boom, permaban. On my main account too, so I got like the partner check mark and everything. I thought so too. But no, permaban. And I was like an 8-month subscriber, like active chatter, like, and he's like called me out on like my good takes too, like he probably never remembered me. But yeah, I still watch him. Like, I'm not like, whatever. I don't give a fuck. I got banned for saying free Israel. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that'll do it in his chat for sure. That's another can of worms. I don't even want to talk about that. As a joke, yeah, I'm sure you were just joking. That's kind of what I'm saying. Do you know if he banned you or did like a mod ban you? Because I think like it's a general like rule of thumb, like, that type of shit. We'll just get like a mod will ban you. I got banned by the big man himself for my dumb joke. It's cool that he banned you. I got the clip too. My pride. It's my pride and joy. Pride moment. He's more, like economically, he's more left than me. Like he's like, I am a communist. I'm like, one, I don't know enough about communism or socialism to like have an informed opinion. I'm gonna keep it straight. But the things I have heard about communism and socialism, I have a lot of questions that, I haven't had answered yet, and that I feel are in reasonable ways, I guess, is the way I'd put it. I think that's also hurting Dems is their willingness to accept communism and socialism. This is one place where I disagree with the notion that Democrats are willing to accept communism and socialism. There's no, like, do you have an example? And you can't say like Bernie Sanders because he's not a socialist. Like, if you look at what socialism is as like an economic organization, that is not what Bernie Sanders wants. Bernie Sanders is not talking about moving away from a capitalist economic. See, no, brother, she's not wanting like social policies does not equal socialism. Like universal healthcare is a social policy, but that's not what a socialist economic organization is. A socialist economic organization fundamentally is about like workers owning every company. Like socialism fundamentally is just an economic organization where the workers own companies rather than company owners. Does that make sense? Like that's all socialism is. That's what socialism is. Communism is a form of socialism, but socialism is an economic organization. It is not just like sometimes there's universal healthcare, sometimes there's like universal housing. Socialism is not social policies. AOC, Bernie, they want social welfare policies like universal healthcare, like, universal college. Those are social policies. That is not what socialism is. Socialism is an economic organization. She's in the DSA. Yeah, I know she's in the DSA, but if you look at like her actual policies, the things she's like talked about, she's a social democrat. I don't know if you're familiar with that term specifically, like soc dems. AOC, Bernie Sanders, they're both soc dems. So that's like keeping, and Bernie calls himself a democratic socialist, but again, like he's a social democrat. Like this is like a pretty common talking point among the left even is that like they're not like socialists say they're not socialists. Like and I hang out in Hassan's chat and stuff. Like socialists don't call AOC and Bernie socialists, like fundamentally, because again, they're really not. Neither of them are advocating for a socialist economic organization. They're advocating for checks on capitalism, which I advocate for too. I think we need to regulate capitalism if we're going to let it function, because I think unregulated capitalism results in a lot of exploitation, period. I do believe that. But moving away from a capitalist economic organization, that's a separate conversation entirely. Regulating capitalism and socialist economic organizations are separate topic, or like separate like functions, period. So again, like that's the like perspective in like left-wing communities, like so like I have not heard any of them say we need to seize the means of production. You know what I mean? Yeah, like here's an argument. Here's a QZ article. Bernie Sanders isn't a democratic socialist. He is a social democrat. I respect that. Oh yeah, man, for sure, dude. It was nice hanging out with you, man. I'm more than down to talk politics again, or if you want to talk football, come by every Sunday. I'll be streaming every day. But yeah, man, this is a good convo. I agree. And it's fun hanging out. Yeah, bro, for sure. It's what, like 2 a.m. there? Get the fuck to sleep. All right, man. Cheers. Come by anytime. See ya.
Enforcement.
I don't have a thing to say.
All right. Can the disagreeer step forward?
I'm going to say just these three are going to move forward. I think these three are going to hold back, just like the first time. No, God damn it. Okay, I mean, that's a good sign in my opinion.
I got married to a young lady who did 15 years in prison for a robbery she didn't commit. I myself was incarcerated for 6 months for a burglary that I couldn't have committed because I was in prison. So in 1987,
so many stories like that, man. It's insane.
I'm doing 19 months in prison. When I came home in 1988, I was given a burglary charge and I had to sit 6 months. And the judge did not kick it out because there's no way I could have done it. He kicked it out because they didn't serve me the warrant while I was in prison. So I don't trust them. They lie and they do things and it affects
Oh God, yeah. I mean, holy shit, dude. The way like police fund, like from a systemic level, like coerce people into like guilty what's the word I'm fucking looking for, like admitting they committed a crime that they didn't do. Like some of the shit you see, man, it's insane.
Many people I know who have been wrongfully arrested, wrongfully convicted, and they actually lie on the stand, so there's no trust.
As you guys know, I am from Richmond, Virginia. It was the capital of the Confederate. I have been brutally abused by the police there. Like personally, I was at the river on the 4th of July. I don't smoke, I don't do none of that. The police come and arrest me because I look like a drug dealer. Like they arrested me.
What? The stereotype.
Then when I was in high school, my senior year, my father went to jail over a car accident. And I was left alone at 17 years old. I was grateful. One of my teachers took me in and like raised me. I try to stay away from the police as much as possible.
First of all, they're human beings, and I think that just because you put a badge on that doesn't magically bewitch you with like integrity and a desire to actually help the people around you. I think a lot of times police culture comes from police families. It comes from like legacy lines and this whole like kind of like culture about stuff. I mean, I don't trust them any more than I would trust any other person. They haven't earned that necessarily.
That's an
Especially
interesting
not as an
take.
Institution in its purest form, I think it's necessary, but
yeah,
they have a lot of living up to that to do and to make up for if they're going to be trusted.
I've seen law enforcement here on social media and seeing how they treat people of color, you know, from like hitting them. I mean, George Floyd, you know, rest in peace. But just seeing that from my experience being here, I was scared, you know, like every time I'd see a cop pass by, I'm like, okay, I better make sure I'm driving okay.
I mean, if that's not evidence of like severe, like socioeconomic, like systemic problems, I don't know what it is, man. Like, for real.
You know, because I don't want to be stopped or make sure you're not in any harm's way, you know, but it's sad to feel that pressure every time you see a cop going by. And even if they're trying to help, but I wouldn't even want that help because of what I've been seeing on social media, you know, and also seeing the case of people being wrongfully, you know, taken to prison. That's like unfair. Like, what type of research are you doing before you arrest people?
And I immediately thought about the history of the police too, just tracing that back to slave patrols, which became our modern day police departments. And
oh, the fact that like if you have a felony, you can't vote. Like, that to me is like, talk about the loss of the American dream. Like, you are a citizen of this country. You should always have a right to vote.
We are.
Yeah, and I mean that. Whoa, why is this one purple? Oh, because share your answer. Yeah, I mean, he brings up a very good point. Like, that is one of those like systemic racism. Excuse me, systemically racist institutions, is like preventing felons from voting. That goes back all the way to like when we were like super racist, Jim Crow era. Like, that was one of those things designed to prevent black people from being able to move up and have power.
Are obsessed with race in America.
What's my perspective on this question? We are obsessed with race in America. God, it's one of those Jubilee, like, annoying ass questions where it's like, it's framed in such a weird, like, annoying way. We are obsessed with race in America. No, I don't think we're obsessed with race in America. I think that's a dumb question. I think that there are a lot of issues facing people, and we have, like, systemic racism from the ground up in every one of our institutions that need to be addressed. So I could see people going like, the left is always talking about race and like racism, blah, 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 blah. It's not because the left, we as the left or whatever, are obsessed with race. It's because from our perspective, we're recognizing these enormous issues facing people that tie to their race, you know, ethnicity, whatever. So we want to fix those. So we're talking about them. So it's not that we're obsessed. We're just talking about issues that exist. So just, what's his face? Kip stayed back. I think that's his name.
I think that word obsessed is such an interesting word. And I think
yeah, it is an interesting word because Jubilee sucks and they word their questions in these like weird ways.
The way that that question is framed is almost as if it's like the onus is on us, like we're obsessed with race too much. Like, no, white people are obsessed with race in this country. They've made their laws based on it. They've cast us out because of it. They've like destroyed entire groups of people because of it. So, I mean, we're just living in the ripple effects of the stones that were cast in the pond of history. So we're just reacting to it. So we would rather just be human beings and American citizens and, you know, people that are pursuing an American dream. We'd rather not have to think about race, but that, we did not draw first blood on that.
What else do you expect?
Yeah, like, I mean, I'm not
like,
obsessed.
Yeah.
For me, being in America give me an opportunity to like meet and like discover so many different culture that I would never see if I was in my country. I would just like maybe hear about it on the news. Yes, I agree. I think they are very obsessed with race. Even when you do like an easy application, like it doesn't matter what application you do, they want to know your race. They want to know, you know, why they don't have a category for Africans. Exactly. You know?
That's why I'm checking out every time.
They want to know everything.
The thing that pisses me off the most is that when they see you, and they be like, oh, you have an accent. Where are you from? Like, who cares where I'm from? Just tell me this thing and let me keep going.
And then when you tell them that you're African, they be like, what country?
Yeah, they're so obsessed with where you're from.
You be like Wakanda.
Like,
I don't believe that there's an obsession about race in America. I believe that race is a distraction to hide the power, the wealth, and the access to it. So a lot of times there's something put on the table like a rock being thrown and I hold my hand, and that's the racism between black and whites, between blacks and Hispanic, and other cultures have come here. We'll talk about race just so that we don't have access to the power and the wealth, and I think it's done on purpose. There's a power that allows us to talk about race if we don't look past it.
some of the question prompts that I see differently, and then when I hear somebody say it, I'm like, that actually makes sense coming from their perspective. So it's been really beautiful having this conversation with you guys. You guys are very knowledgeable, and I've learned a whole lot from each and every one of you today.
Going into this with like the title of the series, like African versus African American, I think that like people were gonna come in thinking that we were gonna be like guns blazing, but this is such a beautiful display of unity. I love it. It like gave me so much life today.
Hi there, YouTube. It's me, John Oliver. We're still on hiatus right now, but I wanted to come...
Was there something I missed? No. No? No.
back briefly to talk to you about a couple of things. And the first is trash. The thing that in his lifetime, Abraham Lincoln produced more of than he did anything else. And you know what? It's not just Lincoln, is it? It's all of us. Cormac McCarthy has produced 12 novels, and that's undeniably a lot, but it's not nearly as much as the trash he's generated as a human being. Cormac McCarthy has pooped more than he has written. That's just a fact. I don't want to argue about it, that's a fact. And it's not just that, Cormac's also sneezed into tissues, hasn't he? He's wiped his mouth with napkins, he's dumped out lasagna that he couldn't finish but didn't feel like saving, and that's trash. It's all trash. The most productive person on the planet's creative output is dwarfed by the amount of trash that they produce. And I'm including Shakespeare in this too, and Zendaya. Anyway, specifically, I wanted to talk about garbage cans in the small Swedish city of Malmö. It's basically the Ohio of Sweden. Is it? It could be. It's a big little city with an IKEA that kind of feels like Ohio, doesn't it? You're not going to check. You're not going to bother to figure out what I meant by that. Honestly, I barely know what I meant by it. Just accept it. Pop-Tarts are the bagels of cake. Hair is the fingers of the head. Malmö is the Ohio of Sweden. Things are whatever we say they are. Now, if you don't know anything about Malmö, don't be discouraged. Nobody does. Most people are learning about it for the first time with you right now. The most interesting thing about Malmö is that it's home to Nina Persson, the lead singer of the Cardigans, the Swedish band that had an absolutely massive hit in the mid-1990s with Love Fool. You know the song, it goes like this. Okay, that's enough. I don't want that song stuck in your head, and I don't want to pay for the rights to play it in that exact order. Now, the reason I want to talk about Malmö is that it made the news a few months ago for an unexpected reason.
Whilst Sweden prides itself for being clean and one of the countries with the lowest levels of air pollution, Malmö is a Swedish coastal city trying to encourage people to throw their rubbish away using a dirty talking bin. Here she's thanking someone. And all in a sexy voice.
Yep.
What?
Yep. That's right. That's right. In an effort to encourage people to throw their trash away, Malmö programmed a few of its garbage cans to moan sexily when utilised. Now, a reasonable question to this information would be, what happens when a child uses the garbage can? And a reasonable answer to that is, shut up. Just shut up. Let's just enjoy this. Not everything has to be quietly bad. These garbage cans moan and say thank you after you put trash in them, and if you don't understand why that's fun, I'm honestly not interested in knowing you. You can choose to spend your energy, a finite resource by the way, complaining to me in the comments below this video, but please know I will not read them and they will not make an impact. Anyway, the trash cans don't just moan, they also have things to say.
The programmed female voice makes suggestive remarks, asking for a little more next time, and come back soon to do that again.
Excellent. No notes from me. Do you know what? Some notes. If the objective is to get people to throw away trash, it is slightly undermined by the fact that you don't actually need to put any trash in them to hear them moan. You can just sort of flick the outside parts. And hey, maybe that's the point. Maybe Malmö wanted to remind people that penetration isn't necessary and digital manipulation is a completely acceptable path to pleasure. I don't know. I'll never know. I don't speak Swedish and I'm simply not willing to learn. What I do know is that Malmo's system is clearly far better than our approach to trash right here in New York City, which appears to be allow all garbage to marinate in their own juices loose in the sun until the world fucking explodes. But to get back to my original point, sexy talking garbage cans exist in Malmo, and they're very, very good. And I know what you're thinking. You're looking at how much of this video is still remaining, and you're wondering, is all of this going to be about the sexy talking garbage cans? Well, no, it isn't, because I now need to talk to you about a very particular collection of garbage, because you may remember earlier this year, we acquired a dozen haunted creepy dolls that were washing up on a beach in Texas. You may not remember why we did that, which is honestly fine. I don't really either. Sometimes we just do things. To dispose of them, we thought we'd found the dolls a home in Yarra, Australia, a place that we'd previously harassed for unrelated reasons. You may recall that we offered them our giant alligator giving the finger statue, these frogs, $10,000 to their local food bank, and a $5,000 donation to the John Oliver Koala Chlamydia Ward. All in exchange for this stupid banana statue of theirs. Now, they countered our offer, nixing the exchange of statues, but saying that they would name a recycling plant after me for the donation. And guess what? They actually kept their word.
Hi everybody, my name is Sophie Wade. I'm the Mayor of the City of Yarra. We can now declare the John Oliver Recycling Plant open.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
They did it. Yeah, they did it. And their response there was the exact appropriate level of enthusiasm for that announcement. Now, we asked them to run these demon dolls through their recycling machine, but they pointed out that they weren't the right kind of plastic and might actually damage it. And at that point, we were a little bit stuck, because these dolls need to be disposed of. We do not want them haunting our office anymore, whispering the dates of future plane crashes with their eyes. And we thought we might be in big trouble until we remembered those Swedish garbage cans, because they seemed like the perfect resting place for these monsters. So we started making plans to dispose of the dolls in Malmo, until we were informed that the sexy moaning garbage cans no longer moan when you feed them trash, as that was apparently, and this part is true, only a summertime event. Yeah. Yeah, it really doesn't feel right, does it? I don't want to get into a whole thing about which season is the horniest, but it's obviously not summer, is it? It's fall. It gets darker earlier and beds are more inviting. I shouldn't need to explain it any more
Spring?
than I already have. But importantly,
That's the horniest season.
still had the ability to speak if they were simply reprogrammed. And when we asked Malmo if we could reprogram them to say whatever we wanted, they very unwisely said yes. So, we sent the dolls to Malmo to be disposed of by literally the only person that we knew lived there. Please enjoy.
Hi, I'm Nina Persson. I'm the lead singer of the Cardigans, and it's my honor to dispose of these demon dolls for you. Hello, trash can. Here come the first one. Oh wow, aren't you disturbing? Okay, bye.
Mums mums. Välkommen till Malmö. Ni misstag från Texas-stämman.
Here are a few more.
Kom till ro nu, avfallsbarn. Era dagar som demoner är över. Mer tack.
Oh, you want more? Okay.
Mer.
Here you go. See you in hell.
Mer, avfallsbarn.
I'm just disposing of an American's trash. Bye-bye. Off you go.
Mer.
Here comes another one.
Fuck.
Well, here's the last one. No, thank you.
Sov så gott. Tiden är kommen för dig att hemsöka Gud i världsrymden. Snälla dö.
Well, that's it. Please stop sending me your garbage babies.
We did it! Thank you so much, Nina Persson. Rest in peace, Demon Dolls. Thank you so much for watching this. We will be back in February. Goodbye!
Is gentrification an inevitable condition, or is it? And I know it's not inevitable, as you say, but if the conditions of inequality are in existence, does that make gentrification inevitable? Do you know what I'm saying?
I think so. The way that I'm interpreting your question is this idea that if there are different kind of pockets, if you will, in an urban landscape where some areas have been disinvested and undervalued over time, then within a capitalist system, within a capitalist land market, I think gentrification is quite likely, right? In that you want to buy low and sell high. So some of those areas that were once seen as less desirable or kind of lower income, low priced become attractive for capital because there's the potential for that, relatively low level investment to rise in value over time. And it's the nature of capitalism that it always has to seek greater and greater profit margins. So in that context of that landscape of inequality, yes, the kind of the pull of capital into certain areas is very strong.
Can you trace the history of kind of the concept of gentrification, like in the United States in particular? I feel like in the 60s, you see this transition, this process beginning to happen, people leaving the cities, white flight, suburban centers, and sprawl kind of becoming an ideal, and there being an active disinvestment in the cities as well. So just historically, when you were looking at gentrification as a concept, where did it start and how did it kind of evolve over time?
The term itself was coined in 1964 in London by a sociologist, but of course the process had already been underway in different places for some time. And it was referring in that moment to what seemed like, given everything that you've just described, a very counterintuitive movement of middle class, often white, house buyers into working class urban neighborhoods. And this seemed to go against everything that all of those trends that you just laid out. So the conversation at that point was very much around what was the kind of the cultural driver of this? What was attracting certain families, certain individuals to these areas? Now, I think it's clear that price was probably a factor, but there was also a kind of a countercultural movement, right, where some people wanted to reject the norms of suburbanization and kind of a conservative ideology and to do something different. Those who were living what would have been called alternative lifestyles at the time, whether they were single, whether they were part of the LGBTQ plus community, whether they were single parents, found more acceptance and a greater diversity in urban communities than they were finding in those white flight suburbs. So I think that cultural story is an important one to tell. It's not the whole story, but it certainly seems to have been a key part of the picture, particularly in those early years.
And then as maybe if you could take us even into like the 80s and the 90s and how the monster evolved.
The way that is described in the literature is kind of like a wave model that we in the early years had these, kind of a bohemian countercultural kind of left-wing artsy movement of people back into the city. But as the neighborhoods that they inhabited became a little more middle class, a little more palatable, if you will, to more mainstream families and households. There was the second wave is a kind of middle class household wave that starts to see these areas as a good investment and as having many of the amenities that they desire, whether those are, good schools, a nice green space, good access to public transportation, those sorts of things. And then the third wave, as we move kind of into the 90s and through to the present day, is this increasing involvement of those more powerful forces that we talked about at the beginning, the state kind of facilitating gentrification by removing or limiting regulatory controls, and the private development, finance, and real estate sectors getting very actively involved in new construction of homes in neighborhoods and tearing down public housing for market rate housing and all sorts of other investment strategies that have kind of capitalized on gentrification. Some call this an era of super gentrification, where it's like gentrification on top of gentrification.
Super gentrification. That is I mean, like, if that's super gentrification, then where are we at in 2022?
Yeah, I mean, it's this era where we see almost a real multiplicity of forms of gentrification. We've talked about like a tourism gentrification. We've talked about this kind of foreign speculation as a form of gentrification. We have a wide variety of forms that are, to my mind anyways, and as I argue in the book, ways of extracting value and wealth from urban neighborhoods, and often in the process taking them away from or displacing the people who were the ones who kind of made them what they were in the first place, but who are now not so able to enjoy, if you will, the fruits of their community labors over time.
I said it. I think, I think that thanks for following theme of the show. You don't need to have the CIA doesn't need to tell the Peruvian far right to do a coup, right? They were trying to get this guy out of office since he got in there, right? This was like the third, impeachment attempt. They have been going hard against him since the beginning. So it doesn't necessarily mean it was, but the fact that the CIA ambassador met with them, I mean, I think that's probably a more, I don't know, to me, that's the one that makes the most sense, was like, they kind of found out, like, they were going to go ahead with something, right? And then they approached this ambassador beforehand to make sure they were going to get the go-ahead, right? To see if they want to come in on it with them.
Okay, I have a joke. How much does a roof cost?
What's the difference between a religion and a cult?
There is none.
All right, I'm bringing it back old school for me. This is some edgy atheist content. Let's go. Atheists and Christians play truth or drink from The Cut. Which The Cut, Seattle, represent?
Hi, I'm John.
Who's gonna, like, not answer? I gotta know that. Who's gonna not answer? Like, what are these questions gonna be?
I'm Chris. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So how do you all identify religiously speaking?
I'm atheist.
And I'm a Christian.
Atheist.
I am like Baptist Christian.
How long have you been in the Baptist church?
Since I was born, I grew up in the church. My dad's the pastor.
I've been Satanist for about 4 years
Satanist. Let's go, dude.
now.
I am a United Methodist pastor. Been a pastor for 27 years.
Do you want to start with a shot?
Sure.
Are you doing baby shots or you doing real shots?
So you can just take shots
Here's
whenever?
happiness.
Do you believe non-believers are going to hell? Why or why not?
I do. That's very hard.
How is that a hard question, dude? Like, the only thing that's hard about it is that she wants to be charitable. She wants to, like, her answer is yes. Like, but how do you tell someone to their face, yeah, you're going to suffer for eternity in my belief system? Like, even like I'm gonna say it, even like Christians know that that is a completely ridiculous sentiment. So that's why you have a reaction like this, to where she has to be like she's a Methodist, like that's what she believes. But yeah, like even Christians know that that is a completely psychotic viewpoint to have. That like everyone around you, the overwhelming majority of people around you are going to suffer forever. That is a completely irrational, silly viewpoint. What's up, YSL Omari? What do you do on this stream? Well, this is my like third or fourth stream period on this new account. I'm actually a former partnered streamer on a different account. So I'm just kind of testing a lot of stuff. But like politics, current events, some gaming here and there, maybe. Reacts, like fun reacts, interesting reacts. Like I'm interested in like things like, I don't know, current events, science, politics. What did I study at university? Digital communications. Yeah, so I have a description that says a little bit more about what I do and what I plan to do on this stream. What about you, YSL Omari? What are you into? Right now, I'm being my edgy 18-year-old atheist right now. Like, I'm not nearly... Okay. Like, you want... Like, okay. Like, are you just looking to get, like, perma'd in, like, every chat? Like, what's wrong with you, dude? What the fuck? Anyway. Whatever.
I do.
But yeah, like the idea that you gotta tell someone to their face, yeah, you're gonna suffer for eternity in my belief system. That is like utterly psychotic.
That's very hard.
There's the part of me that's been trained to give a certain answer. You know what? I'm gonna drink for that. I don't know.
Yeah, like look at this. They cannot answer this question. Like, am I going to hell for eternity because I'm not Christian? Like, yes or no? Like, they can't answer it because like the answer is psychotic.
I'll do one with you.
Perfect.
Dude, I could use a drink.
For me, as far as being a non-believer, is why can't I, being as good and kind of a person, I could be Mother Teresa, but if I don't believe in him, I'm shunned.
I don't believe in a heaven and hell. What I believe is...
Say, bro, you're a pastor. Your book says there's a heaven and hell. Like, what's wrong with you, dog? Like, you're gonna ignore your whole book? Like, what's wrong with you?
Whatever is after this life, I would say is somehow a continuation of the ways in which we've lived our life.
What about Christianity?
That's actually a good take. Like, in the sense that, like, that's more reasonable than whatever the fuck most of people's religions, you know, say these days.
Or Christians, are you jealous?
Shoot, what's the question?
Of the ways in which we've lived our life.
What about Christianity or Christians, are you jealous of?
Oh, that's an easy as fuck question for me. The sense of community. Like, the fact that, like, you can get together with, like, your whole community in, like, a building once a week and, like, just talk and hang out. Like, obviously there's the, like, preaching and whatnot. Like, ignore that. The sense of community, like, you're part of something. Like, that's a big thing that religion gives you. And there aren't a lot of, like, ways to get that outside of religion. I think there are ways you can get that outside of religion, like, you know, for instance, your political ideology. A lot of people, like, create communities out of their political ideologies, like socialism and communism. Like, the more I'm looking into those communities, like, I wouldn't say I'm a socialist or communist, really, but I'm in those communities because I'm left-leaning. And those feel like kind of like religions in that way. Like, it's this community that you can be a part of and talk with, like, people around you. So that's what I would say is, like, the thing I'm most jealous of when it comes to religion. And that's about it. Like, I can't think of anything else.
What you jealous about us?
He said I got a drink. Is the answer like? Is his answer like nothing? Like.
It's very romanticized being a Christian when you're on the outside. So I always was looking and being like, wow, that looks like what a real family looks like. My family is fighting every night. We don't sit.
Oh, bro, Christian families are fighting every night too. Like, the way like she described it as romanticized, which is good because that's what it is. Like, just like, bro, those like religious families fight more. Like those families form out of a sense of obligation typically. Like, there's a tendency toward that rather than like love or whatever. You know what I mean? So, that's bro, her drip is from The Shining, I think. Look at that. That's sick, dude. I have pillows in my house that are like that. You're still here, Omari? Am I a big Hasanabi fan? I mean, what are you going to say if I say I am? What do you got, Gamer Jame? What's your idea? Anyone who like drops a comment like before following, it's rhetorical. Yeah. Like neither of you two have followed, so like you're about to be trolls. Do I have to read this out loud? Because it's gonna have like something like TOS in it. Okay, Hoarders is a TV show, but it's a host interrogating rich people about why they hoard wealth that could be used to eliminate some costs of suits. Hey, I mean, that's fine. I'll watch that show. I'm not following because I don't care to. Yeah, I mean, whatever. It's just like I said, I told you, I think, Omari, I'm a former partnered streamer on a different account. So, like, I've been here, done that. So I don't care if you follow or not, really. It's just, like, if you're going to, like, chat but not follow, it's a little sus. You know what I mean? Like, you're here to troll. You're here to, like, call me stupid or ugly. You're here to make fun of my beard. You're here to make fun of my nose. Seen it all. Seen it all. But, yeah, I mean, that's a very good point, Gamer Jame. Welcome to the stream, both of y'all. Whether you follow or not, hope you have a good time. Yes, I want to talk to you without wanting to watch every stream of yours. Hell yeah, dude. Fuck yeah. I'm just saying, like, from my experience, like, you know. But no, absolutely. That's fine. Like, come chill, hang out tonight. You don't got to follow, never watch me again. That's totally fine. But yeah, Gamer Jame, interesting. I mean, it would be a boring show. I'm gonna keep it a buck. It'd be a boring show. The drama would be so good. See, that's the thing. Like, these billionaires, like, they know what they're doing. Like, there's not a single billionaire who, like, hasn't justified it to himself already. You know what I mean? There's not a single billionaire who hasn't been asked that question by someone at some point. So they already know the answers. They've already said those answers before, prior to becoming billionaires or whatever. So, what are your political beliefs, Gamer Jame? You seem pretty lefty. What about you, Omari? Because that's what I kind of talk about here on this stream is like politics, current events, some edgy atheist stuff. But yeah. You're not very lefty. That's fine. That's fine. Where are you guys from? I'm from the United States. UAE. Interesting. Okay. I'm gonna keep it 100% honest. I don't know much about, your country. I just don't like poverty. Fuck yeah, dude. I'm with you. What are the methods to eliminate poverty, Gamer Jame? Give me them. List them out right now. You like it up there, Omari? I mean, I know that's a pretty fundamentalist, conservative country, so it makes sense why it's dandy. I mean, yeah, it makes sense why a product of that country would not be left-leaning. That would be more surprising. But yeah, Gamer Jame, we gotta eliminate poverty. I think that's hugely important. You wish you knew. Yeah, I mean, that's my question was rhetorical. There isn't like one answer, right? It's a million different things. We need someone who cares. There's plenty of people who care. They're just not the people in power. And the people in power tend to be tied to the people who have money. And like you insinuated earlier, the only way you have money, like real money, the money that gives you power, is to be someone who doesn't care. It's like an Ouroboros of like a fucked up Ouroboros. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, if all the people in power were people who cared about other people, we would have no problems. That's the problem. If the people who had money were people who cared, they probably wouldn't be in that position in the first place. So it's a big question that requires a lot of systemic restructuring. And a lot of people have different... So there's no hope? No, I don't think that's true. If you want my real answer, like, how do you solve poverty? Like, giving money to people automatically doesn't fix society? No, of course not, Omari. I'm not saying, like, we need to just hand people checks and, like, say, all right, that'll solve all of our problems, period. That is not what anyone's advocating for, really. But in terms of Gamer Jame, there being hope, I'll tell you how I think it's solved. And I think it's by people being more educated, people being more informed, and people being more empathetic toward other people. Those are my 3 pillars. It's really 2 pillars. Being educated, like, and being empathetic. And I think that there is a correlation between those two. Like, the more you learn about the world around you, the people around you, and, like, human history and whatnot, the more you learn, the more empathetic you can be. Not that there's a direct one-to-one correlation, but that's where I would start. Is that the left's perspective on it? Very broadly speaking, yeah, Omari. The left is not one entity, though. The left is a pretty broad spectrum in and of itself, with a lot of different perspectives. But if you're talking very, very broad, yeah, the left wants people educated. The left wants people to feel empathy toward one another. I didn't know how... Yeah, sure. I get you, Omari, for sure. And that is fundamentally what I want. I want good education to be easily accessible all over the world, period. And I think, I'm going to keep it a buck, I think that will cause our problems to solve themselves. Over time, generations. Like, in terms of Gamer Jame, there being hope today? No, there's no hope today. There's no hope for you. There's no hope for me. There's no hope for our current generation. There's no hope for our kids. There's no hope for our grandkids. I'm talking, like, generations deep of putting more money into education. That is what will eventually... that our problems will solve themselves. If everyone was smart and empathetic, there would be no problems. People would actually be able to make good decisions for themselves. People would actually be able to make good decisions for others. That's the problem right now. We can't make good decisions for ourselves. We definitely can't make good decisions for others. But if we were more caring, if we were smarter, we could. Not everyone is smart. I mean, IQ is a bell curve. I mean, isn't IQ, like, not, like, a great way to assess intelligence? 1. 2, I agree, like, this is something that, yeah, it's hard to, like, define. Like, if you were to take every human being alive today and put them in the exact same socioeconomic conditions, like, 1-to-1, everyone had the same experience except you were just a different human, some people would succeed more than others. But I think the spectrum of, like, people's, like, capacity is a smaller, like, spectrum than some others might think. Like, how do I word this better? Like, if 100 is, like, the optimal human's potential, let's call it potential. If 100 is the optimal human's potential, I think the overwhelming majority of people are no less than, like, 97, 98. You know what I mean? Some people are going to be lower than that. They might have, like, physical disabilities, like, I don't know, autism or something like that. But for the most part, I believe in a very small disparity of people's potential. So if you create equality of opportunity, which is what I want, equality of opportunity, I believe most people will be smart, you know, have the potential, the capacity to be smart. You have autism? Yeah, and I'm not saying people who have autism are dumb. Please don't get me wrong here. It's not that simple. I mean, probably not that simple. Again, I'm talking in broad terms here. But yeah, Gamer James, there are plenty of super smart autistic people. Like, that was not a good example. I'm sorry that I worded it that way. I think I might be somewhere on the spectrum. No, we're still trying to figure it out for sure. No, I definitely think I have like ADHD at least, but I'm seeing like some talk that like ADHD might just be a form of people being on the spectrum. So if autism is a spectrum, I might be on the lower end of the spectrum, but I'm diagnosing myself here, so I don't know. There's geniuses who struggle with addiction. It's more explanatory of the human experience. You might be responding to something I said, but I'm missing some context in your statement, so Mari. There's absolutely geniuses who struggle with addiction. I mean, what does that have to do with anything, I guess, is my question. Real quick, I've been asking people, how'd you guys find this stream? Like, how'd you guys even get here? Like, I have like 0 viewers and 0 followers. So how'd you find the stream? I'm very curious, if you don't mind me asking. Where are you from, Gamer James? Omari said he's from the UAE, United Arab Emirates. Manitoba, interesting. Cool. I'm from Washington State in the States. Lots of snow here. Yeah, we got some snow tonight. Is this still snowing? No, but we got like, I don't know, a dusting. More than a dusting. We got like I don't know, quarter of an inch maybe. But for here in the Seattle area, a lot of snow is like 3 inches. When we get like 3 inches of snow, everything shuts down. Like, we cannot function as a city, as a like greater Seattle area when we get like 3 inches of snow. But because we get snow so rarely, you know what I mean? So we don't have like the infrastructure to deal with snow. So from Manitoba, what's a lot of snow for you? Like 2 feet? Like, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I love snow though. Like, I live in a place that doesn't get a lot of snow, but I really enjoy snow. Sorry if that's loud. Anyways. Let's see what else these guys have to say.
At the table and pray. We sit in front of the TV with our TV dinners.
I think there's a certain comfort in believing in an afterlife that is enviable, you know, in a sense. So definitely the community and the...
That's what I said. I don't know if you heard me say that, but like the question was like, what, like so this is atheists versus Christians. So the question was like, what do you like about Christianity or whatever? And my answer was like the sense of community Christians have. And so that's what he just said too. The other thing he said was the notion of the afterlife being comforting. And I could see that as well. Like, I didn't think about that, but I could see that definitely being comforting, for sure.
Sense of...
Elon Musk and any other billionaire wouldn't be in a position of wealth if it wasn't for the labor they exploit and the wages they don't pay. Fuck yeah, dude. Spit. I'm absolutely in full agreement. Billionaires would not exist, could not exist without severe exploitation of their workers, period. Yeah, I mean, that's like leftism 101, right? Like, not to disparage your statement or anything. Like, it's very good that you believe that, because it is a rare opinion to an extent. Especially in the US here, like half the country would disagree with you, and then another quarter of the country would disagree with you, like half disagree with you. I'm talking like Democrats, and only like 10% of people would actually believe that. Cool bet. Blah 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 blah. How do I ban people? It's been a while. Boom. Let's go. My first ban on my new channel. Let's go, dude. But yeah, Gamer Jame, I'm in full agreement with you there, buddy. And I'm not even like, you know what, like, billionaires shouldn't exist. They probably shouldn't, but like, you know, if people's needs were met, like if we had, you know, equality of opportunity, and if people's fundamental needs were met, like, fine, billionaires could exist. Fine, whatever. If everyone had access to healthcare, if everyone had access to food if they need it, if everyone had access to housing, and education, like, boom. If all people had access to that, like, at a minimum, like, that's like the baseline that society provides. Fine, whatever, billionaires, don't care. But if you have a good education, access to good food, if a monkey hoarded more bananas than it could eat, yeah, I've seen this. This is like a copy pasta. I've seen this around too, for sure, on like Reddit. If a monkey hoarded more bananas than it could eat, while most of the other monkeys starved, scientists would study that monkey to figure out what the heck was wrong with it. When humans do it, we put them on the cover of Forbes. Yeah. Like I said, I've seen this. Oh, that was probably loud. I've seen that around, but it's true. Like, it is a fun little way to, you know, quantify the severe economic and social inequality we have to deal with. Undoubtedly. So, yeah, it sucks, dude. It sucks. And again, like, I'm not even saying we have to, like, I do believe, you know, if you work hard, if you create something people use, you should be rewarded to some extent. But at some point, like, you're taking more than you've given. And by the time you reach billionaire status, you're taking a lot more than you've given, in my opinion. So, I mean, yeah. Final question every episode. What meaningful... Oh, fuck yeah, dude. Is this in your, like, TV show? What meaningful difference would there be in your life if your net worth decreased by 15%? Dude, that is a great question. Here, you know what? Let me see. This is a thought experiment I've been through before. How many households earn more than 200K in the U.S.? In 2020, about 10 million households in the U.S. had an income of $200,000 or more. Okay, 10 million households. So tell me if I'm doing my math wrong here. But if we take 10 million times, I don't know, let's say they all had to subtract $10,000 off of their income every year. So $10,000. Or no. Hold on. What am I doing wrong? $10 million. 10 million households. I'm shit at math. Would it be times 10,000? How much? What number is this? 100,000 million billion. Oh no, this is right. So if we had all households earning $10,000 or more, give up 10,000 more dollars. Okay, did I botch that? All households in the U.S. earning 200K or more gave up an extra 10,000. So someone earning 200,000 now earns 190K per year. Someone who earns $1 million now earns, 9,900,000, blah, 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 whatever. We could infuse another $100 billion into our economy. U.S. education budget. U.S. discretionary budget. Where's our discretionary spending? My point is, I don't know. I'm taking a long time to prove this like minor point. We could tax like wealthy people significantly more. Like look at that. Education, 159 billion in discretionary spending. Reallocating that wealth downward would have a huge positive effect. Also reduce government. Yes, dude. Exactly. Here, you can see this. Just from taking $10,000 from people earning 200K or more, we could effectively double our education budget alone. Now, the question that you brought up earlier, like in your previous comment about that 15%, that $10,000 for all 10 million of these families, how much does that $10,000 affect their ability to live comfortable lives, right? That's the question. At 200K a year, at 190K a year, like your whole life, you don't have to worry about, you know, that much really. But if we doubled our education budget, imagine what unthinkable good we could do just by taxing people, rich people, a little bit more. Now, yeah, when you like talk about cutting some of our military budget, you know, and putting it into other things, like there's a whole conversation to be had about reallocating wealth that we absolutely should be having. But the problem is both of our political parties are disgusting neoliberal forces that operate at the behest of capital. So that'll never happen. You know, the rich people control our government. The rich people pay. From the U.S. perspective, I honestly don't know much about Canadian politics. But I do know, I don't know, your Liberal Party. What's your Liberal Party? Are they just called the Liberal Party? Yeah, your Liberal Party is more to the left of American Democrats. But still pretty center as far as I can tell. So, yeah, the problem is both parties in the US are neoliberal, is ultimately what I'm trying to say. Oh, man, I feel like I'm just rambling. But yeah, Gamer Jane, we are on the same page for a lot of what you're saying, for sure. Anyways.
Peace, I feel, that a lot of Christians get.
This is my favorite question in the whole world.
Good.
What's your search word when you're looking for porn to watch?
What's your search word? Like, what does that mean? Do you have a search word? I don't have, like, a search word. Like, one, this guy's about to lie and say he doesn't watch porn. That's a fucking lie. You know he does.
Don't think I have one. What? I don't think I have a search word.
Do women have a search word? Like, she's, like, saying this is a great question. The chick who just said what is acting like this is a great question. Do women have a search word? Because I've never heard of this term search word. You know what I mean?
You're not a homepage guy, are you?
I'm a homepage guy. I'm gonna keep it a buck. If I ever do, you know, go on like a site or whatever, I'm a homepage guy. Like,
Scrolling through the homepage?
Is that what it is?
I like the solo stuff.
Masturbation.
Yeah, mostly solo stuff.
I don't really watch porn.
What?
But people don't believe me because they be like, everybody masturbates, blah, 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 blah.
You don't masturbate
But
either?
I tried, and it don't hit the same when you're not with somebody who you actually care about. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
no, let me tell you something.
I'm sorry.
I love sex, but don't nobody love me like I love me.
I wish I could be like that. That would be lit.
We about to go to the store after this.
I'm dead, okay.
Between believers and non-believers, who is better in bed?
I generally don't know.
between believers and non-believers, who is better in bed? I have been with too few people, like, to have that distinction. Like, I've been, you know. So.
If I've hooked up with somebody who is religious.
I love her top, though. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Did they yell, "Oh God, oh God, oh God"? Because that's a hint. That's a hint. Are they religious or not?
They weren't, but that's probably because I'm just bad in bed.
No.
Do you even ask for the religion before you do the nasty?
No, I ain't worried.
Yeah, like straight up.
There's one thing us gays are known for. It's fast and easy hookups where religion is usually not brought up.
What race and gender is Jesus?
What race and gender is Jesus? I mean, from a historical perspective, this is pretty open and shut, right? Like, he was a male Galilean Jew, so.
I believe he is a male.
Regularly describe Jesus as a first century Palestinian Jew. So brown-skinned, Arabic. There's no way he is a blonde-haired, blue-eyed Jesus.
What are your thoughts on when people, whether they identify Jesus as a woman for themselves or no gender, no race, are you all like, that's okay?
Is God male? Absolutely not. Clearly not. Was Jesus...
Bro, your book calls him a male. Like, your book refers to God as a he. He's got like a love, like, flag. Like, I appreciate progressive Christians. Obviously, I appreciate progressive anyone. Like, there's just not enough progressives, period. But like, it feels like you're not following your religion. Like, period.
Jesus? Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Like, the book says God's a male.
Historically, he was. But what did he represent? And the idea of divinity, that is beyond pronouns.
What about you? Do you believe that God is a woman?
I believe God does not exist.
Yeah, isn't she like the atheist? Why would you even ask that?
So, question.
Yeah.
Do you believe that Satan as an entity exists?
What a, like, silly question. Oh, didn't she say she's a Satanist? So there's, like, two types of Satanists, right? There's, like, Satanists who, like, literally worship Satan, and they're, like, fucking crazy. And then there's, like, you know, the Satanic Temple or whatever it's called, where, like, you just, like, it's just edgy atheists being edgy and, like, trying to make Christians mad. And that's really all it is. But how would you say I don't believe in God, but I actually believe in Satan? Like, there's no one who thinks that, right?
I don't. For me personally, it's just a way of living where you live to be happy. You want other people to be happy no matter what they do, even if you disagree, and you help other people who aren't happy. Basically, just don't be a dick.
I think that would be a great slogan for the church. Don't you think so?
I love
Because I
that.
think that's really what Jesus was about. Don't be a dick.
Let's see what this next one is. Tell me about your most egregious sin.
Murder. No, like, what's that gonna be?
Probably lying to my parents for money for drugs.
I used to scam people.
Mhm.
That was pretty lit. I would get
was
a
pretty
fake
lit.
profile, but it was really my friend. I would just use my friend's pictures, just chop it up with these dudes online who are definitely weirdos, and I would just tell them I'm about to link up with them for, you know, some little sexual favors. As soon as they sent me the money, I blocked them.
You want to know my most...
What the fuck? Wow, dude. Oh man, I gotta do that. It's too easy to make money.
Egregious sin, it goes back. Okay. This is like 20 years ago, before I became a pastor. I was so convinced that homosexuality was wrong that I prayed that gay and lesbian people would go to hell. That they not that they would be changed, not that they'd be converted, but that they would actually go to hell because they deserved it.
What was it in your brain that was like, it's better for them to just go to hell as opposed to...
No, I
convert?
was that vindictive and
you were just-
judgmental. It was horrible.
Between us, who has slept with more people, had more sex? Yeah, I've slept with one person my entire life, so.
I slept with more than 100 people by the time I graduated high school.
Holy shit, dude. That sounds problematic. Like, it sounds like you're hooking up with, like, you know, people who are committing statutory rape on you. You know what I mean? I have no clue if that's what happened. But typically, you know, high school sexual relationships are with other people in your high school. I can't imagine there's like 100 gay men in his high school that he was hooking up with. So, I don't know.
Between us, who has slept with more people or had more sex?
Probably you.
Definitely you. What are you talking about?
Ain't
Do I look
nobody
like
hitting
a-
this.
I look like a hoe? That's what you're trying to
What's my number? What?
What's your number?
Let's do it on 3.
One. Okay.
2, 3.
13.
7.
Dang, maybe I'm a thought.
I kind of was a little bit of a hoe before I met my partner. Now, I probably got you beat. I'm at 21.
I'm 57.
I thought that was your body count for a second. I was like, whoa.
So I've been married for almost 30 years, so that really wipes out. But before we were married, I was kind of a hoe.
Yay!
I'm probably double digits, but maybe just over. That's probably something I should just drink to, huh? Yeah, to being a hoe.
What about Christianity don't you agree with? What do you think is the
Everything.
most outdated thing about your religion?
Everything.
There's a lot that I don't agree with. I am a very
So, like, what do you mean there's a lot you don't agree with? Like, isn't the Bible, like, the word? I don't know. Like, aren't you supposed to agree with it if you're going to call yourself a Christian?
firm follower of Jesus, not a firm follower of the church, if that makes sense.
There's a million churches, dude. Are you a follower of the Bible? I'm so
One thing I do
confused.
not like about Christianity is a lot of people who are Christians go to the extreme. For example, at pride parades, you'll see them with signs talking about you're going to hell, and at the end of the day, the Bible says to love your neighbor.
It depends on interpretation. Like, there's plenty of stuff in church dogma and doctrine and tradition that I don't agree with. There's stuff in the Methodist Church that I don't agree with. Only until recently, like for 50 years, has ostracized gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender people. And that's horrific to me.
I've experienced a lot of sexism. I think there's a lot of gender roles that are completely outdated and not even biblically supported either.
I hate that interpretation of Scripture that it's exclusive to people. But for me, it doesn't mean that the whole thing needs to be written off. But there's a lot of people.
That's I don't know. Like, that's something that frustrates me about religious people in general, especially Christianity. Every Christian picks and chooses anything they want from their book or religion that makes them feel good personally. Like, that's the problem. Like, if there was some consistency to it, maybe I'd have less of a problem, but there's no consistency. That's why there's so many branches. That's why there's so many sub-branches within those branches and the sub-branches within those branches. It's crazy. There's no consistency between each individual Christian, not a single one. Even within those sub-branches, they all have their own separate interpretation. They all cherry pick and choose the things they like, period. And that's very frustrating to me.
that we need to update.
You did it!
Hell
How
yeah.
was this meeting?
All right, BRB.
Is here. Am I saying that right? Conover?
Yeah, you got it right, man.
Of Adam Ruins Everything originally, and now you have a new Netflix show coming out.
Got a new Netflix show called The G Word. Yeah, it's out right now.
Called The G Word that is out right now. And, Adam has been on Twitch for a while, so I was like, let's have him on.
Hell yeah. I have like a 1/200th of your viewership, but, I play Elden Ring sometimes at 1 in the morning.
But it doesn't matter. You have, dude, who cares? You have a Netflix show, you know what I mean? Let's take a look here. Let's watch this trailer real quick.
Netflix trailer team does a good job. That's a nicely edited trailer.
You're like the show not as good, but the trailer is bomb. Okay, so what's up? You're libertarian now, got it, and that's your attitude. I got
Wait,
it.
this shows the opposite of that.
No, this is like
This is a
small government guy.
This is a show about everything good and bad the government does. So we talk about a lot of shit like the GPS system the government runs, the entire GPS network, lets every company use it for free. I think that's kind of an anti-libertarian point because it's like the private companies could not build the GPS system by themselves. It took 50 years of the government doing it. I actually finally had most gratifying DM I ever got. I got a DM from a libertarian saying, I'm a libertarian, but your show convinced me we do need the government to do some things. And
You
I was
need to
like,
alert the authorities that was a pedophile DMing you immediately. Follow
Fair
that
enough.
up by saying, except for the age of consent laws and the arbitrary nature of age of consent laws.
I love that libertarians always get hung up on age of consent laws. It drives them nuts.
The baby market, the marketplace of babies. That's a real thing. Okay, so this is actually really interesting because your show and the G word, the government word,
Yeah.
is totally relevant to, I mean, obviously everything that we're talking about, but specifically on this day, a week where the baby formula crisis is like really popping off on the
Right,
internet,
yeah.
and I've had some takes on this, and how the government has tried to address the problem in the aftermath of the Biden administration coming out and saying that they are basically fucking drop shipping, thousands and thousands of baby formula into Indiana. Under Operation Fly Formula. I said, capitalism is so wild that 4 companies control all baby formula, and the stuff they make overseas is not allowed to be sold here, even though EU standards are higher. So when one plant is shut down to avoid an FDA investigation, everything collapses and the government has to fly formula in. And people, oh boy, did people get mad at me. Libertarians that were DMing you.
How'd they get mad? That's an objectively correct take.
Well, you're a little biased, so that's probably why. You're not the co-founder of the Institute for Progress, a think tank accelerating scientific, technological, and industrial progress, interested in progress studies and effective altruism. Just like a Silicon Valley version of like we're libertarians and think that like charity will actually go a long way and solve all our problems. It just hasn't yet.
Yeah.
You're not one of those big brain guys.
Yeah. No, effective altruism is like I don't completely hate effective altruism, except it's always used by these guys, by the libertarian types. It's like good to figure out, hey, how can you best like give money to poor people? That's a good thing to do. But then these guys are like, well, that's the only way that we should help anybody is by billionaires scraping off 0.5% to like send overseas. What was this guy's beef with you? What did he say?
Well, he was mad because capitalism is when a government regulator bans most competitors from entering the market. Now, what these guys always like play fast and loose with that I personally love is that like they think that it's not like governments doing this at the behest of corporations lobbying the government.
Yeah.
Like as though the government itself is like, no, I fucking love I as an individual independent entity, I'm not even motivated by the revolving door between the FDA and companies like Abbott. I'm not motivated by that at all. I'm just the government, and I love doing communism. And communism is when you have a duopoly or an oligopoly.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason that the government is doing this is
No, you know what pisses me off about this is that these guys have identified a problem, but they're blaming the wrong person. So libertarians will complain about regulatory capture, which is a real problem. It's when you have a regulator and then you've got a corporation that like basically takes control of the regulator and dictates what it does and uses it to build a monopoly. And dudes like this will claim that that's a problem with the idea of regulation.
Okay. Let us finish up the day with taking the political compass test. God, I look so fucking white. Is there any way for me to look less white? Holy shit. Oh, it's just bright. 21 years. Whatever, let's do this. Before taking the test, please note that this isn't a survey and these aren't questions, they're propositions. To question the logic of individual ones that irritate you is to miss the point. Some propositions are extreme and some are moderate. That's how we can show whether you lean towards extremism or moderation on the compass. Your responses should not be overthought. Some are intentionally vague. The purpose is to trigger reactions in the mind, measuring feelings and prejudices rather than detailed opinions on policy. Okay, page 1 of 6. Just a few prepositions to start with concerning, no less, how you see the country and the world. If economic globalization is inevitable, it should primarily serve humanity rather than the interests of transnational corporations. So this is one of the things that people say about the political compass test that people are frustrated by. Like who in their right mind would go, actually, they should serve in the interest of transnational corporations? Now, there are going to be a lot of brain-broken people who will see this and say strongly disagree because of their natural inclination toward the question. Some people are going to rather serve humanity and then immediately have a reaction to that. Some people are going to see pro-transnational corporations and like have an edgy response to it and then say strongly disagree. But from their perspective of triggering reactions in my mind, measuring my feelings, I strongly agree that as we globalize economically, it should serve humanity rather than corporations. Abso-fucking-lutely, I strongly agree. I'd always support my country whether it was right or wrong. Strongly disagree. I mean, there's something to be said about supporting your country through thick and thin, I guess, at minimum. But this, as a statement, I strongly disagree. No one chooses their country of birth, so it's foolish to be proud of it. Yeah, agree. I'm in between agree and strongly disagree. Like, some amount of national pride, I don't think is necessarily unhealthy. You know what I mean? Like, I'll support the USA in the World Cup. Like, whatever. I don't care. I don't care about the United States national team, really. But I'll do it to support the World Cup. But ultimately, on the whole, yeah, you don't choose the country of your birth. So being proud of it, like, I hate, maybe I want to strongly agree. Like, being proud of being an American just because that's where you were born, it's a little bit iffy to me, but I'll just stick with agree. One race has superior qualities compared with other races. Oh boy! There's no other answer than this. I mean, you'd have to be pretty fucked up to say anything otherwise. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Probably disagree. Like, we might, like, in like one issue find common ground, but ultimately if they're my enemy, like, ideologically, no, they're not my friend still. Like let's say libertarians. Me and libertarians, okay? Libertarians want gay people to be able to get married. That's a good thing. I want gay people to get married. That's a good thing. In this case, the enemy to that ideal is authoritarian right-wingers who say, no, gay people shouldn't be allowed to get married. But I'm not going to say I'm friends with libertarians. Fuck that. Of course not. But so, yeah, no, I disagree. I probably strongly disagree. But I'll stick with disagree. Military action that defies international law is sometimes justified. I mean, like, I guess, like, one international law, excuse me, like, this could be anywhere from rational to reactionary. You know what I mean? Like, this statement doesn't necessarily mean it, mean anything. And sometimes is carrying a lot of weight here too. Like, should you sometimes violate the Geneva Convention? I don't know. Maybe. Sometimes. Who knows? You might have to. So the word sometimes carries a lot of weight here for me. So I'm going to say agree. There is now a worrying fusion of information and entertainment. I guess. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think the fusion of information and entertainment is necessarily a bad thing. But it can be good, it can be bad. So I'm going to say agree because while, like, I think the good is more neutral and the bad is actually bad. So we're going to say agree. Now the economy. We're talking about attitudes here, not the FTSE index. People are ultimately more divided by class than nationality. Strongly agree. We have a class war. That is the only war we are ultimately fighting. Whether you realize it or not, you are in the middle of a class war. Controlling inflation is more important than controlling unemployment. I mean, this is a more complex economic question than I understand. But, like, based on the description, based on my feeling, no, I think we need people to be working. So I'll say disagree. Because corporations cannot be trusted to voluntarily protect the environment. Fuck yeah, dude. Are you kidding me? What kind of, like, crazy person would say, like, disagree or strongly disagree? Like, you would have to be completely brain dead if you think like corporations are going to voluntarily protect the environment at the expense of profit. Like, that's nuts. You'd have to be completely I can't think of anything nice to say. Stupid to think this. Okay, straight up. From each according to his ability, to each according to his need is a fundamentally good idea. So this comes straight from the mouth of one Karl Marx. I don't know. This is one of those things, you know, the principle refers to free access and distribution of goods, capital, and services. I mean, doesn't this fundamentally rely on, like, resource scarcity not existing? In the Marxist view, such an arrangement will be possible by the abundance of goods and services that a developed communist system will be able to produce. That is, the idea that with the full development of socialism and unfettered productive forces, there will be enough to satisfy everyone's needs. This sounds utopian, and I like the sound of this. I do. I think this sounds great. Now, whether or not this is attainable or feasible is its own question. I'm not 100% sure. So in that respect, I think it is a fundamentally good idea. It's just predicated on a lot of assumptions that I'm not sure. One, we definitely can't do now, for sure. Two, I'm not convinced we can do ever as humans, you know. That's the thing about, like, Marxism and socialism. I think a lot of the ideas are interesting, but ultimately, they would require significant changes to ourselves as people that I'm not convinced we're willing to do. The freer the market, the freer the people. Nope. It's one of those things that, like, the left has an uphill battle to explain. Like, free market, freer the, like, this sounds like a good slogan. I can see on the surface why someone would think this. But no, it turns out when you have a free market, all that happens is wealth and capital accumulates at the top, which results in less freedom for you and me because we have less resources. So no, strongly disagree. It is a sad reflection on our society that something as basic as drinking water is now a bottled, branded consumer product. Probably, yeah, I would agree with that. Land shouldn't be a commodity to be bought and sold. So this is another, like, Marxist principle, like whether you should be able to, like, private property, right? Like, you can have personal property versus private property. That's like a socialist Marxist, like, talking point, essentially, from my understand. So this is one thing, like, I just have to go on, like, fundamentally, I agree, you know, like, I think I'm going to say agree. But this is another place where, like, it is, like, there's the idealistic view and then there's reality. So I'm going to say agree. It is regrettable that many personal fortunes are made by people who simply manipulate money and contribute nothing to their society. Agree? Strongly agree. Protection of social trade? Absolutely. The only social responsibility of a company should be to deliver a profit to its shareholders. This is a tough question to ask because you're talking about like the fundamentals here. You know what I mean? Like, in a capitalist economic system, yes, this is the truth. And so if you're referring to a company in that regard, yeah. But if you're saying company just like, I don't know, like under socialism, there are no companies, right? Like under communism and socialism, there are no companies. There's just one society, period. And like everyone just works a job. That's part of, I guess, like a vertical. But whether or not they're companies, generally speaking, from what I understand about like socialism or Marxism, they don't really function in this same exact way. In like a final stage communist or economic system. So like in capitalism, yes, that is the only reason what a company is there to do. But the question is, should be. It's like, I think I disagree. Like, I think it would be great if companies could be more philanthropic, or what am I looking for? Hello? Okay. All right. Where are we at? The rich are too highly taxed. Is there like super strongly disagree? Because that's where I'm at. Those with the ability to pay should have access to higher standards of medical care. No. Governments should penalize businesses that mislead the public. Fuck yeah, dude. A genuine free market. Oh, I think about this more. I can't, like, maybe there's some instances. No, fuck that. No. A genuine free market requires restrictions on the ability of predator multinationals to create monopolies. Absolutely. Like, well, that's tough. Like, a genuine free market requires restrictions on the ability. I mean, no, a genuine free market would allow predator multinationals to create monopolies. That's like, that is a symptom of the free market. That is why free market is fucking stupid. So like, is this question just poorly worded? You know what I mean? Like, if you're gonna have a market, we do need restrictions on the ability of this to happen. But at that point, it's not a free market. It's a regulated market. It's you're entering the territory of maybe a planned economy. But I'm gonna say strongly agree because I think I understand the spirit of the question. Abortion when the woman's life is not threatened should always be illegal. Strongly disagree. Not even like. Kind of think about it. All authority should be questioned. Yeah, probably, right? Like, question it, but like we should be able to make solid intuitions. An eye for an eye, tooth for tooth. Strongly disagree. That is nonsense. Taxpayers should not be expected to prop up any theaters. Strongly disagree. Okay, people are stupid, and if they're not gonna support the arts, that's like an issue and like a symptom of, you know, people being stupid. And so government is there because people can't make good decisions for themselves. That's why I think government exists. I fundamentally believe that. I do not believe people are capable of making good decisions for themselves and good decisions for others. That is why I think government exists. If people could make good decisions for themselves and good decisions for others, I would be a libertarian, period. Like a real libertarian. Because we wouldn't need laws. If everyone just acted perfectly optimized 24/7, you wouldn't need a government. You wouldn't need structure. But no, people are stupid and people can't operate good for themselves or others. So that's why we need government to step in. Schools should not make classroom attendance compulsory. So this is saying, like, what do they mean by this? Required. No, classroom attendance should be required. I absolutely believe that. All people have their rights, but it is better for all of us that different sorts of people should keep to their own kind. Whoa. Wait a minute. Yeah, I mean, you have to be a pretty shitty person to say anything other than strongly disagree. Good parents sometimes have to spank their children. Disagree. Corporal punishment, always bad. It is natural for children to keep secrets from their parents. Sure. Sure, strongly sure. Possessing marijuana for personally should not be a criminal offense. Well, I must strongly disagree. Should not be a criminal offense. Strongly agree. The prime function of schooling should be to equip future generation to find jobs. No, it should be to make people smarter. They'll find jobs, but no, that's not what school should be about. People with serious inheritable disabilities should not be allowed to reproduce. Oh no, the eugenics question. We're back! The most important thing for children to learn is to accept discipline. Strongly disagree. There are no savage and civilized peoples. There are only different cultures. Yeah. Those who are able to work and refuse the opportunity should not expect society's support. I disagree. Like, I think it's a fallacy. I don't think if we supported everyone with like a baseline level of support, like i.e. free housing, free food, free healthcare, free education, I don't think people would just not work. I think that's a fallacy. So I disagree. When you are troubled, it's better not to think about it, but to keep busy with more cheerful things. No. What? No. First-generation immigrants can never be fully integrated within their new country. No. I'm technically a first-generation immigrant, and I'm fully integrated in my new country. What's good for the most successful corporations is ultimately good for all of us. Oh my god. Strongly disagree, of course. No, it's kind of the opposite. Yeah. No broadcast institution, however independent its content, should receive public funding. No, I strongly disagree with that for sure. Our civil liberties are being excessively curbed in the name of counterterrorism. Fuck yeah. That's unquestionable. A significant advantage of a one-party state is that it avoids all the... Oh, no. Yeah. I guess I agree with that. Like, it does avoid the arguments, but... Is that an advantage of one-party state? No, I disagree. Like, I think, no, one-party states are bad. Like, well, that's complicated, okay? I don't even want to get into it now, because I'm fucking tired, and I thought I'd be done sooner than this. Although the Although the electronic age makes official surveillance easier, only wrongdoers need to be worried. Oh my god, strongly disagree. You know, I'm not a wrongdoer. I still don't want to be surveyed by anyone. Company, private organization, or public, government. The death penalty should be an option for the most serious crimes. Strongly disagree. I'm fundamentally against the death penalty in any capacity. In a civilized society, one must always have people above to be obeyed and people below to be commanded. Strongly disagree. What the fuck? Abstract art that doesn't make considered art at all. Strongly disagree. In criminal justice, punishment should be more... In criminal justice, punishment should be more important than rehabilitation. Strongly fucking disagree. It is a waste of time to try and rehabilitate. Strongly disagree. We should always fucking try. Like, it might not work, but we should always try. The business person and manufacturer are more important than writer and artist. Strongly disagree as a writer and artist myself. Mothers may have careers as home. Fuck no. Multinational companies are unethically exploiting the plant genetic resources of developing countries. I don't know what this is. Plant genetic resources are the boundary of food security. Oh yeah, of course they are. Making peace with the establishment is an important aspect of maturity. No. If you got through that okay, you'll find these propositions on religion a breeze. Oh yeah, I'm very clear on my religious beliefs. Astrology accurately explains many things. Strongly disagree. You cannot be moral without being religious. Strongly disagree. Charity is better than social security as a means of helping the genuinely disadvantaged. Strongly disagree. Some people are naturally unlucky. I mean, no. It is important that my children's schools instill religious values. No, fuck no. Finally, a look at sex. Sex outside of marriage is usually immoral. Nope. A same-sex couple in a stable, loving relationship should not be excluded from the possibility. Of course. Pornography depicting consenting adults should be legal. Of course. What goes on in a private bedroom between consenting adults is no business of the state. Of course. No one can naturally feel homosexual. What? These days, openness about sex has gone too far. No? Let's see where I stand. North Korea's here, China's here, Saudi Arabia's here, Singapore's here, Uruguay's here, Switzerland's here. So who's here? That's right, no one. There are no countries like this. I would guess, like the last time I took this test, I was here. I would guess I'm probably in the exact same spot. Yeah. So. More left than before. I think I was like here. I think I was precisely here. So now I'm more left than I was previously, which makes sense. I took this, I don't know, 2 years ago previously, so I've definitely gone more leftward since then. But I was already pretty left, so. Yep. That's that. Anyways. Thank you all for hanging out and watching. Maybe I'll play a little bit. Play a little bit of FTL. Let's unwind a little bit.
First of all, Elon Musk, in the funniest way, decided to do like 3 polls, okay? He just kept doing polls over and over again where he was like, should I unban the people that I banned for doxing? And everyone was like, yeah, you should actually, okay? And then he was like, oops, too many options on that last poll. Gonna run it again. People were just like, people kept voting harder. Unsuspend accounts who dox my exact location in real time. Now, 43%. Unsuspend accounts who dox my exact location in real time. Now, 58%. 3 million votes. And then while it's like, great question, should real-time doxing be allowed on Twitter? His dick riders, like retweeting his dick riders, 37K likes. Uh-oh, little bro, it's not working for you. Meanwhile, Twitter usage by real humans once again reaches all-time highs. Kaboom. He's just basically saying like, me lighting the platform on fire is actually helping. The people have spoken. Accounts who dox my location will have their suspensions lifted now. And the irony is like, yeah, Twitter usage might be up, but like, you know, it's a shit factory that is on fire right now. On the back end, you have a lot of issues running the fucking thing. It's still melting money. Ad revenue is still down, so it doesn't fucking matter if usage is up. Ultimately, it's not helping you. And now you're alienating the fucking libs that idolize you, that buy your goddamn cars. Elon Musk is the perfect figurehead for someone who I should absolutely love. I don't have a problem with government subsidies, especially when it's directed towards renewable energy initiatives. Elon Musk technically is doing like space travel and shit too on top of that. Supposed to be pushing technological boundaries. But I fucking despise him. And the reason why I despise him is because he's a right-wing billionaire shithead, takes the government subsidies, and does not distribute it adequately amongst the people who actually make the fucking shit. He also, on top of that, and this is the worst part in my opinion, is routinely taking credit for their accomplishments. He's routinely taking credit for the accomplishments of his workers. That shit pisses me off so much. It's so gross. He should not exist in a normal economic organization of society. Like, if we organized our economy in a way that like completely abolished homelessness and all this stuff and like things were better, Elon Musk would not exist. He is not a value provider. Doesn't do shit. He's just tweeting all day. You see it. Like, you know he's not doing shit, dog. There's no better representation that billionaires don't do shit than Elon Musk. Apparently, Twitter Sport this morning decided you can't link competitor platforms any longer on Twitter. Twitter Sport said, we recognize that many of our users are active on other social media platforms. However, we will no longer allow free promotion of certain social media platforms on Twitter. Specifically, we will remove accounts created solely for the purpose of promoting other social media platforms and content that contains links or usernames for the following platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Mastodon, Truth Social, Tribal, Nostr, and Post. They still allow TikTok because China? No, they allow TikTok because it's not a competitor. Video platforms seemingly are still fine. They also want to take down link trees and shit. Even Jack came back and said, why? I mean, EU's not going to allow that, by the way. Elon Musk's new policy preventing linking competitors is a direct violation of European Union rules. Penalty could be a fine up to 20% of Twitter's annual revenue. What he's doing here is a direct violation of antitrust laws. Elon from 6 months ago has something to say. The acid test for any two competing socioeconomic systems is which side needs to build a wall to keep people from escaping. That's the bad one. Yeah, he's talking about the Berlin Wall, or at least the great Twitter wall that he's building. Elon tweeted an apology. What? Bro, he's out of his mind, dog. And now there's a new poll. What? No way! Bro, I was the first vote. Yeah, we're gonna believe it. It's already bought it the hell. There's no way this many people are saying no to it. There's no way. You know he asked the engineer to rig the poll. Dude, yes. What? Elon taking business advice from the quarter pounder? This is just sad. What do you think should be the new policy? Hey, Elon Musk, I get accounts with sole purpose to promote other accounts being forbidden. But telling people they can't link to their own Instagram is way too far. The same goes for Linktree. I use mine to link to my website, my coffee business, etc., not to compete with Twitter. Okay, that seems reasonable. Bro, the quarter chicken pounder with McNuggets on the side, he's the one who got the policy change to happen? Bro, the only thing you need for Elon Musk to say, you know what, I respect you, I'll defend you. Your only qualification doesn't matter if you like went to Stanford, doesn't matter if you learn to do coding and whatnot. if you have a video where you called like a female Marvel superhero a bitch, you're good. I will listen to you. You are my expert. This motherfucker peed in his basement, dog. And now he's like telling Elon, you know, this is a good business decision. And he's right. That's the worst part. You want to know what the worst part is? The worst part is the motherfucker who peed in his basement is the correct one. He is so much more correct here than Elon Musk is. That's crazy to me. Okay? Elon is going back on his Twitter poll shit. He said he's going to step down from Twitter if the poll says yes. I voted yes, but he already botted it to vote no, I think. Checking in on the poll, and oh, it seems like the yeses are winning. Oh, brother. Oh, no. 11 hours left. Oh, it's going to get botted so hard. Yeah. By the time it's going to get botted so hard, by the end of this process, it's going to be more votes than there are people on Twitter. Elon, it says there are 8 billion no's. Like, how did that happen, you think? As the saying goes, be careful what you wish for. Yep, he already has the new CEO picked out. Elon will retire being chairman of the board and tweeter. No one wants the job who can actually keep Twitter alive. There is no successor. Oh, he means like he's just going to step down and break it. He's going to break it. The most insecure man on the planet, I swear to God. Elon, I want to do it and can help it keep it alive. Not only that, grow farther beyond what it is now. I have a complex understanding of all tech, what Twitter needs, and what creators need. I also have a dozen years running a marketing agency that represented Fortune 500 companies. You have like 200,000 followers on Twitter. Let him cook. It would be funny. Fun suggestion, Elon Musk. Let me run Twitter a bit. No salary. All in. Focus on great engineering and increasing the amount of love in the world. Just offer my help and I'll make the change is useful. Elon goes, you must like pain. A lot. One catch. You have to invest your life savings in Twitter, and it has been in the fast lane to bankruptcy since May. Still want the job. This is fun, dude. I mean, this is like really entertaining to watch some of the biggest fucking nerds openly show like how all of us dumbasses were right all along about some of these nerds. You need to please, my lord. My lord, please. I will run Twitter for you. I know what the serfs need, my lord. Let me take it off your hands, my lord. I will lord over them. The grain, my lord. I told you when they stole the grain from you, my lord. I've said this so many times, but like, there is functionally no difference between the current organization of the economy and how power is distributed under liberal capitalism and theocratic monarchies. Okay? God is the justification for the existence of theocratic monarchies. Meritocracy, which is also a lie, is the justification for whoever has the power of God, basically, or the power of kings, basically, under liberal capitalism. That's it. It's the same shit. You just believe that, Elon Musk is deserving of that power. He's deserving of that because he worked really hard, because meritocracy is real. Because if meritocracy is not real, then like, holy fuck, this entire system is broken. So you have to believe that. Otherwise, why the fuck do you wake up every morning and go to your bullshit job and get asked by your manager, who has so much control over your life? It's got to mean something. You are going to make it, right? Eventually, you're going to work really hard and you're going to make it, right? If you recognize that like all those rich people in positions of power were just simply luckier, okay? Because probability is impossible to escape, and that there were factors in their lives that made them who they are, and not some random upper middle class white guy that they could have been just as easily, that were outside of their control. The moment that you recognize that, the moment that you recognize the difference between me, okay, who is here now, and every other fucking Twitch streamer who could have been in this exact point, is just sheer luck. Things went right in a way that I will never be able to describe. Did I work hard? Of course I did, okay? Did I work smart? Of course I did. But ultimately, you cannot outwork probability, okay? And the quicker you recognize that, the easier this will be for you.
This is fucking true.
And destroying that sacred cow is a terrifying prospect, which
This
is part
is-
of the reason why
he's
people
spitting
have
right
to
now.
believe Elon Musk is worthy of the power that he has. Meritocracy, the lie of meritocracy, is what holds this entire system together, okay? These people in positions of power just have more marketing dollars put behind them. They do more PR. So, you know, you are supposed to believe that they're actually worthy of that status that they have, worthy of the power that they have. They're not. Elon Musk shows that every fucking day, baby. Every day.
Everything's still on display, but presumably they're still having their din-dins. But we got our sign. We're going to try our luck hitchhiking. Ah, there's the main road up there. Yeah. It's right there. What are the odds of seeing that shambles of a club out here? Good God. I don't think this is too bad. Ah, okay. If we go just before it, they can pull in, yeah? Yeah.
We'd chanced upon a nice shady spot by the petrol station. It was now a question of how generous are the wealthy citizens of Lake Geneva.
Oh, look at this thing. In the back, mate. Yeah.
Pretty damn generous, it turns out.
Sweet.
Yeah, that's fine. That's somewhere, thanks. Just Vevey.
Vevey was roughly 2/3 of the way to Montreux, which after a 5-minute wait was good enough for us. But who was the generous gentleman who'd be taking us there? We think his name was Jerome, and thanks to his luscious blonde locks, we were now right on schedule.
That is wonderful. C'est magnifique.
Gerald was a man of few words, but then why do you need to speak when you've got views like this?
Wow.
Only a road for go to Montreux. Yeah, this is perfect.
Oh, perfect. Merci beaucoup. Nice to meet you.
Jerry had actually dropped us off right by Vevey Marina, where the temptation to search for a boat returned. But the temptation to do this was stronger.
Did you get a boat, mate?
Much to the dissatisfaction of this old-timer. But it mattered not, because before my trunks even had chance to dry, they were set to be dampening the seat of our next chauffeur.
Bonjour.
Natalie. A zesty, free-spirited, independent young woman with just enough room in her car to take us boys to Montreux. She was actually returning from a dance festival where she danced the can-can in this frilly, multicoloured dress. But there was so much more in Natalie's locker than dancing the can-can, and just minutes later she was picking apart the very laws that govern our existence.
I don't take drugs, but anyway, I'm trying to make
the spiritual world.
Yeah, exactly. Spiritual world. The mysticism that we say mystic.
Yeah.
And the physics and the science that is behind that. I'm trying to make the link between both worlds.
Wow. Maybe it's beyond science.
Then, as we entered the historic streets of Montreux, she pulled this out the bag.
Okay, guys, if we can, I'm gonna try to offer you a ride, okay?
A ride on what?
That's a nice start, right? Starting today.
Yeah.
Very good start to the trip.
Yeah. Very
good start to the trip.
Turns out that as well as being a free thinker, Natalie was an accountant, and one of her clients just so happened to be Water Sports Montreux.
Bonjour.
Where we met our bronze hunk, Geordie.
Hey, Tom.
Geordie.
Nice to meet you.
So you reached your destination?
We did, thanks to Natalia here.
Yeah. Oh, great.
Yeah.
The deal was that in return for a simple mention on YouTube, we would get to go wake surfing for free. After spending all day asking people for a ride on their boat, we'd somehow ended up on one without even trying. Better still, we were about to do water sports. And in this setting too. It was just surreal. In fact, I think I got a bit too excited. Thankfully for everyone else on board, it was time to wake surf, with Geordie keen to show us how it was done. As the The boat accelerates, the shape of the stern kicks up a big wave, and once you're up and steady, you can let go of the rope and ride that wave for as long as the lake will let you, which in the case of Lake Geneva is basically forever. Almost. Now it was our turn.
Always wear a life jacket, people.
Now Greg had done a bit of wakeboarding before, so out of the two of us he had the best chances of not embarrassing himself.
Oh!
But after his first 2 attempts,
Go on, Greg. Oh.
those chances were getting slimmer. But then,
Yeah, he's done it.
Greg was up and running. He'd nailed the standing up bit. Could he let go of the rope and surf?
Ah, man.
Could I do any better though? Well, here's my first attempt.
Nice. Nice. Nice.
Which also happened to be my best. From then on, I did the opposite of Greg and got worse with every attempt. Best left to the pros, I think.
She's sick.
As quickly as it had come about, our spontaneous water sports experience was over. We thanked our instructors dearly, quickly used up all the ink in their pen for our next sign as if they hadn't helped us enough already, and bid them farewell.
Bye, thank you. Au revoir.
Sick, mate.
Right, obviously we've just had a wonderful time. Yeah, we'll get to that, mate.
Hold your horses.
But it's 3:30 now. That is the time. It's 3:30.
Pushing it.
Pushing it.
Pushing
Quite
it.
finely. So, we've got to find another hitchhiking spot.
Over there.
Over there, apparently. Yeah, according to Mr. Davis Jones here. We're not related in that sense, but anyway.
We are.
Fuck you. Anyway. Shut up. Anyway, the point is, we've got some moving to do. We've got some fucking ground to make.
Then, 2 minutes later,
Bonjour.
To get on. Ah, merci. Never coming.
Well, that didn't take us long. Any train we get on, we've warned you, we ain't paying for.
Be it a small child's tourist train around Lake Geneva, or a fully functioning national rail service from London Euston to Glasgow Central.
we actually made some really useful ground on this train.
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
We were let on as a sort of joke, really. But by God, we took full advantage, popping out right by the real train station just in case we needed a plan B, and in the perfect spot to actually hitchhike to Martigny.
Right, we're hoping now we can hitchhike again to Martigny and beyond. We need to get past that today. This is the thing, it's getting on. That big highway up there. That's where we're going to make the real miles.
But this time, the traffic vibe was different. A constant flow of bigwigs in expensive cars racing home after work.
Isn't it just the case in life, mate, that the people who pick you up drive the worst cars? Because they just sound like, you know, Range Rovers and sports cars. You don't stand a chance,
They
mate.
don't want to get their big car dirty, do they? It's too stinky Pete's.
And then our odds of getting picked up took a further blow.
Right, slight turn of events. It's starting to rain, so...
2 Stinky Pete's was one thing. 2 wet Stinky Pete's was another. So we prepared for the worst.
Greg's just checked the train times there. Just in case we have no luck with this, we can hop on another train.
But 5 minutes later...
Yeah, man.
A man in a sparkling black Beamer came to our rescue.
Martigny.
Villeneuve.
Where?
Where?
Après Villeneuve. Where, c'est ça. That's fine.
Okay.
Merci.
Merci.
The trend-bucking man in question was Jael, originally of Kosovo.
We're leaving the lake now.
He couldn't take us to Martigny, but he did one better. he took us to a crucial junction beyond Villeneuve where we could finally get onto the motorway and potentially much further. Despite speaking no English, he took a keen liking to my Mission Across Wales series, watching the entire 2-minute intro whilst driving.
Yeah, that's not dangerous at all.
He even gave us a really useful parting gift.
Really? Merci bien. Oh, merci. You're a great guy, man.
Great man. Merci.
See ya.
Gave us an umbrella, like, what a sound.
The umbrella matched Greg's top perfectly, and we joked that that was the sole reason he'd given it to us.
You just had to have it. You just had to. I love fashion. I love it.
It was only when I looked back at the footage that I discovered that he actually did. The man had a deep burning passion for fashion.
Well, we've edged our way a bit further down the valley, or up the valley rather. I'd say we're about 5-6 miles from Martigny. We've had fun and we're making ground. So, and these women are laughing at us. What are you laughing at?
That's what counts.
Oh, is this guy pulling over?
We weren't going there, but the frequency of bangers was promising.
There's a banger. Fucking hell, Doris.
Plus, Greg and I were now radiating spirit and warmth, brightening these local Swiss people's days with our daftness.
Going that way, aren't ya?
Even the gendarme couldn't resist it. And then, no, we didn't get arrested for crimes against fashion.
Oh, yes. And Paulo. Tom, and that's Greg.
Greg. Yes.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, man.
Paulo, originally from Portugal, was a generous, modest, funny, and downright cool bloke with an easygoing attitude and a lust for life. The kind of guy whose presence instantly makes you feel at ease, like you've known each other for years.
Greg, we met some cool people today. You're the coolest though.
We exchanged stories and we told him about how our first day had gone so far.
Boarding like a speedboat, and she said, "Do you want to come on the boat with me for free?" We went wake surfing.
Yeah, have you heard of I'm not the coolest one.
No, you still are though somehow. But,
Paulo then told us that a good friend of his lived in a massive student house in Sierre, just beyond Sion, with a bunch of hippie students. Depending on whether he was at home, we could probably crash there the night, which, with the weather forecast we'd seen all day, was quite an alluring thought, even if hippies can be a bit mental.
that'd be cool.
Yeah,
as an option, sure.
We can see it. What he says.
Yeah.
In the end, though, he was out of town. Our sleeping spot was once again in the lap of the gods. Maybe it was better that way.
You've been a great addition to our adventure. It's been really helpful. Yeah, thanks, man. Have fun and good luck. We'll try, yeah. Sorry about the cave.
Yeah.
He's an animal, he deserves it.
Thanks
Good
so
luck.
much, Paulo.
See ya.
All the best.
Good luck.
Cheers, mate.
Fucking, I'm being gassed here. Adios.
Adios.
Oh boy. Oh. Our all too brief encounter with Paulo was over.
Paulo, great dude.
I've got a tear in my eye. I really have.
But yet again, the generosity of our fellow human beings had left us in the highest of spirits.
We love you, Paulo!
Which was useful, because we still had one last section of road to cover.
That'll do.
We'd done well to scrape ourselves this far, this late on, but our sights were firmly set on our original target of Sion. Nothing would cap this day off more than getting another swift lift. That way we could scout out a good place to sleep in the last light of the day before hitting the town for some well-earned food and celebratory beverages. We joked about another Paulo-esque character coming to our rescue. We weren't far off.
I speak a small bit of French, un petit peu, but okay, nice.
I need to practice.
Nice, Greg. My name's Greg.
I'm Philip.
Philip, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
For me, it's the same shit.
Oh yeah.
Because you know, I am from Portugal. You know, if you call me for enjoy, you know.
Yeah.
Chefs, you know,
Drug dealer or seasoned raver? We couldn't quite tell from his wayward ramblings. All we knew is that he was also from Portugal, but that he didn't know Paulo, that he made the football kits for FC Sion, and that his love for swearing in the English language was greater than his love for life itself. But as erratic and excitable as he was, Philippe was about to surge his way up our little leaderboard of lifts.
Oh, is that it up there?
That's the motherfucking thing, you see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not only had Philippe taken us beyond Sion to his current hometown of Sierre, but he was now taking us by foot to a chateau, a castle, up on a hill. Exactly the kind of place that we'd been hoping to stumble across ourselves. Hopefully, its historical nooks and crannies could provide us with the perfect shelter for the night. There might even be a clumsily unlocked door or a room we could sneak into. Or it could be totally inaccessible and guarded by security. We didn't really know at this point, but we were itching to get up there and find out.
This is fucking sick.
We climbed our way up through the grapevines, the view of the town expanding with each step we took, the steps themselves becoming increasingly impressive and princely. And it was here on these princely steps that we shared a lovely moment with Philippe.
This is like reminds me of Lara Croft, Tomb Raider.
Ah, yes. That's the two. Tomb Raider 2.
Number 2, yeah, yeah.
Number 2, the house, the mansion.
Yeah.
With
yeah.
the guy, they lock the guy around, and then you locked him in the fridge, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And the guy, you have the ends out of the fridge, and the fridge explodes, man. It's fucking psychedelic, man.
I'm done.
Some things are just universal. Philippe quickly pointed out to us where all the best bars were in town before leaving us to explore the grounds of the chateau.
Thanks for everything, man.
All the best, man.
It's been a pleasure to meet you.
Yes, I will see your channel.
Yes.
Subscribe, yes?
Yes, you subscribe.
I love the subscribe, yeah. I will go watch your insane thing. Have fun, huh?
Thanks, man.
Thanks a lot, mate. All the best.
Can I just say, we've just met the 2 nicest guys that ever graced the land of Portugal. What are the odds of that?
One after another.
The main chateau building looked pretty inhabited, and the only hidden doors and passageways we could find were securely locked.
Fuck that, mate.
So we started looking a bit further into the castle grounds, where we found this.
Oh, yeah. Look at that, mate. Could definitely sleep in there, mate. Oh, there's a fire there? Well, that's just ridiculous. And there's a water tap as well for us to drink water. And as many grapes as you could possibly eat. Right, heading down for beers and pizza now. But we'll be back up at about 11 p.m. Pissed as far.
Just look at that view.
Oh, it's just ridiculous. Sleeping
However,
here
that storm approaching from the...
doesn't look great. And when you look up here at those sirens, I think they're avalanche sirens, that look very conductive to lightning. That does worry you. But what a place to sleep.
In town, we soaked up some Atmos.
Fucking pumping.
Engulfed a massive pizza.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate.
And sunk lots of beers. Predictably, though, it would prove to be one too many.
We're heading up to the spot. Our sleeping spot.
Now, the journey back up to the castle is a tad hazy. But from these audio clips, it's pretty clear that instead of making our way to the tower, we ended up in some places that we probably weren't meant to be. Private dwellings in what seemed to be deep in the castle's grounds.
Mate, where the fuck are we now? Oh, shit.
How is this guy fucking living?
Let's go. Mate, it's mission. Mission up here.
Then we stumbled across this.
Look at this place. Look at what we found.
Drunk, disorientated, and in need of sleep, we made a controversial decision.
Welcome to our humble abode. This is where we've decided to sleep tonight. We haven't got a clue where that tower is. Maybe we'll go back. It's absolutely fine to sleep. It's sheltered from the rain. We've got a door for added security. It's our own little room, and quite frankly, we've had a few pints and we don't give a shit.
So today should be interesting.
It's like a man's in our case.
Well, this is where we rested our heads. We still don't really know what this room is, but all I do know is
It's very spidery.
look at this place. We're still very much in the grounds of the chateau, just a stone's throw from these buildings, but we really don't know what this building is. What's its purpose? Either way, it was our bedroom last night, so look at it. Could have had a room each, yeah. Thanks to some last-minute negotiations the night before, today would be a crucial day. Firstly, we had to get to a town called Brig, where we had 2 child scooters waiting for us, courtesy of our next subscriber, Leo. With these scooters, we planned to hitchhike up to the dizzying heights of the Simplon Pass before rolling 15 miles down to the Italian border. Dangerous? Probably. But we badly needed not to die during that, because waiting for us further downstream was another young man called Ayrton, who had an even bigger treat for us in store in the shape of 2 old kayaks. It was imperative that we reached Ayrton by nightfall, for everyone's sake, before kayaking off towards the colossal Lake Maggiore, where we aimed to find ourselves another innovative place to sleep. Yeah, safe to say, today was a tall order. So, although we would have quite liked to have figured out what the hell this place was, we had to get moving. Let's get out of here.
Oh my god.
We quickly freshened ourselves up and headed on down into town for some breakfast and planning, which began with an unexpected text from Leo, who we were planning to meet in Brig. This is his text. So I just stashed the 2 scooters safely in a locker at Briggs train station. The locker number is 125, and you'll find the key by going left when entering through the main entrance and walking up to the photo box thing. Presumably he means like where you take your passport photos. The key is inside a fisherman's friend mint packet in the crack between the wall and the left box thing. Yeah, that's it. So whether we'll find that, whether it's still there, whether a member of staff, like a cleaner, has just took that, who knows, but that's what we're faced with. The other worrying thing is the weather down on the Italian side of the pass, where we're meant to be kayaking down a river, is apparently, according to the guy who's supplying the kayaks, very windy and stormy. So that could also be a problem. So off we headed to Sierre train station. Shut up. I was hopeful. I mean, if we could convince this woman it was night time.
Bonsoir.
Then surely we could convince some bald ticket man not to give us a fine.
We are actually a bit nervous now because the trains are a lot smaller than we thought they'd be.
Very compact and very intimate. We're just going to play dumb and just be like, oh, the lady in the B&B said we could pay on the train. I don't know. Our plan was to spot the ticket guy, head to the other side of the train and sit there obliviously.
What, you saw him? Yeah.
Fuck it, we're both going to the toilet. That plan lasted long.
You might have a shit, mate.
Great. But our new laboratory-based plan seemed solid enough. Every minute that passed, it felt less and less likely that we'd be rumbled. Until, off camera, we heard a loud, firm, authoritative knock on the thin toilet door, followed closely by some stern words. And you didn't have to speak much French to figure out what they meant. Quickly, Greg thought on his feet and took action while I stayed hidden.
Pardon? Ah.
We're gonna get off at the next stop. Visp. Because it's getting hot. As soon as we heard the first announcement for Visp, Greg boldly opened the toilet door to leave. With the coast clear, he headed over to wherever the ticket man wasn't, and as the train came to an absolute stop, I followed.
Here we go.
It seemed we'd got away with it again, with only a few dodgy looks my end, and one woman near Greg who had alerted the ticket man of his toilet exit.
Yeah, I just walked down the carriage as far as I could and hid on the side, and I was like, well, you should be alright now because you're on your own.
Yeah. I think we did well to get out of that one alive, to be honest. But it's hitchhike time again, I guess.
Hitchhike time.
Unless we walk. I don't know. Well, there's the sign to Brig, so that's a start. Looks like with that one train stop, that very terrifying train stop, we're now in German territory.
This meant that Greg was now effectively useless at communicating with people, and I was suddenly useful. At least with the discovery of this ring, he now had the ability to propose to a beautiful woman.
Do a go with it. It's got to be done, mate.
We waited for 23 minutes before Rafaela, a 58-year-old interior designer, invited us into her car, where my German skills were already being put to the test.
Kleiner. Ich komme aus
Pray the gal.
Wales.
Wales.
For Wales?
Wales. Yeah.
Lesson 1, where are you from? Lesson 2, discuss the complex issue of the migrant crisis in Europe.
Oh, no.
Nein, es ist nicht so einfach, aber es wäre auch nicht so schwer. Ich glaube, Sie sagen uns immer, es ist nicht so einfach. Ich glaube nicht, dass es so schwierig ist. Aber wo wollt ihr jetzt? Macht ihr weiter mit Autostopp?
Lovely lady, Rafaela, but she